FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City, a 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Van Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Really excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. We've got a lot to get into in today's show. Coming up in exactly 1 hour, we will be joined by Dan Fitzgerald. He is the manager for the Kansas Jayhawk baseball program. We had him on during the regular season. KU has now made the NCAA tournament. They are heading down to Fayetteville, Arkansas for a regional in the college baseball tournament, and he will join us on the show. If you come on this show, good things usually happen. Now, I know that other shows maybe have a jinx, but you remember Jim Rome back in the day, how they would have jungle karma. If you came on the jungle, it would give you a little bit of a boost. That's all we do on this show. Patrick Mahomes' career has taken off since he started coming on this show. Trent McDuffie didn't have an interception before he started coming on this show. KU hadn't been to the baseball playoff since 2014. You come on this show, blessings. That's what we do on this show. So Dan Fitzgerald is going to be on the show coming up in a bit. We're also going to take a trip to Omaha. Jack Caglione had his debut at home for the Omaha Storm Chasers yesterday, so we're going to get to that. We'll talk a little college football. We'll talk some basketball. We'll talk a little bit of everything on today's show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Appreciate you guys being here. Before we get into the top story, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock. Right here on 96.5 The Fan. And number two, you know what I need you to do? I need you to tell just one friend to check out the show. It'd be great if you could tell two friends to check out the show, but you know what? Beggars are not going to be choosers. It would be great if you could simply tell one person to check out the show. So as I'm getting ready for today's show, I'm seeing some rumblings on social media. I'm seeing a little conversation on Facebook. You know, I keep an eye on some of those Royals Facebook groups. I see some rumblings on the timeline, and they were directed towards Bobby Witt Jr. Now, Bobby Witt Jr. is having an all-star caliber season. I mean, we're talking about a player who is hitting .289 this season. We're talking about a guy who leads the major league in doubles. We are talking about one of the best young players in the American League. But I do think it is fair to note that some of the numbers this season have appeared to be down for Bobby Witt Jr., and what does that mean? So if you take a look at last season, Bobby Witt Jr. hit 32 home runs. So far this season, he only has 5. Last year, he led the American League. He led all of baseball in batting average with .332. Right now, he's hitting .289. By most offensive metrics, he's a little bit down this year. Now, some of that, to me, is the offense that they have placed around him. He only has 28 RBIs this season. It's kind of hard to drive in runs when there's nobody on base whenever you get up to the plate. So I think people have been trying to figure out, what does that mean offensively for Bobby Witt Jr., or does it mean anything? I guess it stood out to me yesterday because we talked about Elly De La Cruz as one of the most exciting young players in baseball. Did you guys know right now that Elly De La Cruz has as many home runs at Kauffman Stadium as Bobby Witt Jr.? Elly De La Cruz, who has played 2 games this season at Kauffman Stadium and just has 10 plate appearances, hit 2 home runs yesterday. Meanwhile, Bobby Witt Jr., who has played 28 games at Kauffman Stadium, has 120 plate appearances and 108 at-bats. He only has 2 home runs this season. So Elly De La Cruz, from a power number, has matched a lot of those numbers from Bobby Witt Jr. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? We had Josh Vernier answer this question because I was just curious to hear what Vern had to say about the power numbers from the Royal Slugger, Bobby Witt Jr. Here's Vern.
No, I'm not concerned about Bobby's power, sure. Ellie's taken over, certainly last night's game. But, no, I'm not concerned about Bobby's power because he gets so few meaty pitches to hit, especially when Vinny and Salvi behind him have disappointed so much with runners in scoring position. But sure, the bat speed, hard hit rates, the slug is down for Bobby this season, but also everyone understands that's the guy you can't allow to beat you. And this season, Vinny has not shown the ability to beat you. Salvi hasn't shown the ability to beat you, so why would a team allow Bobby to beat him? Now, with all that said, he's missed a few opportunities, a few of those rare opportunities he has to do damage. The difference right now, Aaron Judge, the thing that he does so shockingly is when he does get that one mistake, he crushes it every time. It's very Barry Bonds-esque from the early part of the century. Bobby right now, no, not capitalizing on every single mistake, but I honestly think it has more to do with the guys hitting behind him than Bobby himself.
So that is what Vern had to say about the power numbers being down for Bobby Witt Jr. If you missed it, Elly De La Cruz, in just 2 games and 10 plate appearances at Kauffman Stadium, has matched the home run total this year at Kauffman Stadium from Bobby Witt Jr. in 28 games and 120 plate appearances. There is no question that the offensive numbers are down for Bobby Witt across the board. And what does that mean? I would tend to side with Vern in this conversation. I think a lot of the offensive problems right now about the Royals are due to the surrounding and supporting cast. That if you are another pitching staff, why would I let Bobby Witt Jr. beat us? Why would I give Bobby Witt Jr. opportunities to drive in runs? Why would I give him something meaty? Why would I give him a favorable pitch to hit where if we can just simply get through this at bat with Bobby Witt Jr., coming up, Salvi hasn't been the player that he's been in years past. Vinny Pasquantino hasn't bounced back to where he was last June or July pre the wrist injury. So I do think that a lot of the offensive troubles for Bobby Witt Jr. are directly tied into he's the only guy in that lineup that you need to worry about. Maybe you want to throw Maikel Garcia in there, but I think we understand the difference in Bobby Witt Jr., who finished second in the MVP voting, and Maikel Garcia. There's just not a lot of protection around him. There's not a lot of guys before him that get on base. This offense just isn't performing at a high enough level that I think it's allowing teams and managers to sort of pick their spots. And why would you ever give Bobby Witt Jr. a chance to beat you? Because you were going to ask the other Royals offensive players to try to do that. And at least so far this season, those guys haven't been capable of doing that. Rob, where do you stand on this with the power numbers for Bobby Witt Jr. being a little bit down in relation to where they were a season ago?
So yesterday I asked the question about, if it's one thing or the other thing, and you said it's a combination of both. Is that the logic behind what's happening with Caglione? I said, is it, backup quarterback theory or is it his greatness? You told me it's both. I think what we're talking about today with Bobby Witt is the same. I do think you and Vern are correct. I think he's pressing because he knows he's the only guy in this offense. And I think pitchers know if there's a guy to not throw a strike to in the Royals lineup, it's him. It's don't make a mistake. It's nibble. It's throw 4 outside the zone. And if he gets himself out, party on Wayne. But even on first base, he's a threat. But at first, he's not as big of a threat as putting the ball over the wall. I think you and Vern are correct. But I also think the underlying power numbers are down this year. I know he's leading baseball in doubles, but part of him leading the baseball in doubles is he can turn a single into a double. It's not the ball is just bouncing off the wall and he's putting it deep every single time. There feels to be a dip in power. So it's concerning that a guy last year who at one point we thought could be a 30-30 type of guy is not looking like that at all this season, at least not with his power. But I do think it's fair to say it's impossible for him to flash the power because you, me, Vern, the text line, everyone who plays the Royals, most people playing on the Royals know, why would I throw number 7 a strike? A strike to number 7 can hurt me. I can give him 4 junk balls, and I'm good for another 9 ABs. So I think it's both. The underlying concern is his power, but it's hard for him to flex he has it when he never gets an opportunity.
Looking at his numbers, if you want to extrapolate it out for 162 games, right now Bobby Witt Jr. is on pace to have around 60 doubles. He is on pace to have 14 home runs, 81 RBIs this year. He is on pace to steal around 60 bases this year. His strikeout numbers would be up from where they were a season ago. If you extrapolate what he's done so far, he will strike out 127 times. Last year, he struck out 106 times. So strikeouts are up a little bit. Batting average is noticeably down this year in relation to last year. On base percentage, slugging percentage, most of those offensive numbers are down from where they were a season ago. I do think it's very important to note in this conversation. I do think that at some point this season, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to get hot and get going. Bobby hit 20 home runs as a rookie. Bobby hit 30 home runs his second season, 32 home runs last year. I don't think that this season you're getting 14 homers from Bobby Witt Jr. We talked about this in relation to Salvador Perez and also Vinny Pasquantino. One of the problems for the Royals is just their biggest offensive contributor. He's down 20% last year offensively from what you got. If you can get Bobby hot, where he goes on a 3-4 week stretch, kind of like he did last year after the All-Star game, where you could not get him out really in any capacity last year, that could really help jumpstart this offense and get this thing going. I'm not here telling you that their offense is struggling because of Bobby Witt Jr., and trust me, they have far other problems and issues than Bobby Witt Jr., but your star player being down 15, 20%, your second best offensive player, whether you want to say that's Salvi or Vinny Pasquantino, you take 50% off of their production last year. You then don't get a whole lot from the outfield. I mean, there's a lot of potholes right now if you're looking at this Royals offense and why the Royals continue to be a bottom 5 offense in Major League Baseball. Coming up in about 30 minutes, we're going to head to Omaha to check in on Jack Caglione's first start in Omaha. Coming up on the other side, right now the top story in sports is the college football playoff as they try to figure out what expansion will look like. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the 965 YouTube channel. The Drive, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5, The Fan.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at Shaneco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey there, Kansas Lottery here. And we want to get together for a game or two. Meet us at your favorite retailer or wherever you like to buy your tickets, and we can let the games begin. There's a lot of fun and cash on the line. See KSLottery.com for details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC, used with permission.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link.
And we're the hosts of the podcast Ear Biscuits. We're just two lifelong friends who've been talking about life for a long time.
From being dads to businessmen to all the random things we experience, nothing is off limits.
And now we're talking to you. We're answering your questions, giving advice that you may or may not want to take, and listening to your hilarious stories.
So leave us a voicemail to be part of the show at
1-888-EARPOD1 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Let's switch gears for just a little bit and let's talk about some of the potential changes that are coming to college football. So, you guys know that recently they went to a 12-team playoff model. We've had one season of the 12-team playoff model. We are going to have one more season of the 12-team playoff model, and then we are going to see expansion. Now, we don't know if they're going to go to 14 teams or if they're going to go to 16 teams. Something tells me that if they go to 14, they will have 14 for a very short period of time, and then they will find a reason to add two more teams to get to the 16. So why not just do the heavy lifting right now? Let's just skip the 14 model and let's go right to 16 if that's where this is going to go by the end of the decade. So they are trying to figure out the right way to do this. There are a couple of different ideas that have been proposed. The Big Ten and the SEC, they want to have a guaranteed model that would guarantee them 4 spots in the college football playoff. That means they would get a bigger slice of the pie out of the 16. This obviously doesn't make the SEC or the ACC happy. This also doesn't make the Big 12 happy. Wait, why do you guys get more spots? Why do you guys get more revenue? That is only going to widen the gap and the divide between those two conferences and everybody else. There's also infighting between the Big Ten and the SEC. The SEC plays 8 conference games. The Big Ten plays 9 conference games. Wait, we don't get to schedule a patsy in this. We're playing another major Power 5 school while you guys aren't forced to do that. We want you guys to play 9 conference games the way that we play 9 conference games. The SEC is saying, well, we'll do that, but we want certain guarantees and certain provisions to make sure that we get a set amount of teams in the playoffs. Right now, it is all angling on all sides. Everybody is looking out for self. Everybody is trying to ensure that they get themselves the biggest piece of the pie. So, the most recent proposal that has been discussed that I honestly think is the most fair way to do it. there is a model that would ensure if you win your conference, you would make the college football playoff. So it would be a 5+11 model. So if you win the Big Ten, you're automatically in. If you win the SEC, if you win the ACC, the Big 12, if you win the Power 5 spot. So last year, Boise State was that team. One year, it could be UNLV. It could be Liberty. You guys get the point. So those 5 teams would guaranteed make the tournament. And then the rest of the 11 would be decided by a committee, kind of like what we do in college basketball. In college basketball, if you win your conference tournament, you are guaranteed a spot in the NCAA tournament, and then we have a committee to help determine the seeding and the other teams that make it. That is an idea that is being proposed by college football. That, to me, seems the most fair idea to do it, but you already know there's some complaining about it. Now, Brian Kelly actually had a pretty good idea of how he thinks SEC teams should build their schedule. They want to reach an agreement with the Big Ten, and this is how they would like to do every team in the SEC's schedule. This also, I imagine, would be the same schedule for the teams in the Big Ten. You would play 9 games in your conference. You would be mandatory to play one team that is in the Big Ten, and then you can play 2 other games. Now, what do those 2 other games look like? Is that Missouri, for example, playing KU or K-State? Or is this Missouri now trying to schedule Buffalo and Boston College to get 2 guaranteed wins to try to ensure that they can always make a bowl game? Now, we'll see what that looks like. But if you were telling me that this is going to be the uniform model that we have going forward in college football, I welcome that. I don't have a problem with major schools playing one of those kind of gimme games. I understand the economics of college sports. Now, you guys know my idea. I'd be perfectly fine if they move that to the spring and replace the spring game with that. Instead of watching Ohio State scrimmage each other, why doesn't Ohio State play a D2 school around the area? You bring people in, you get to simulate the same thing that you simulate during the college or during the spring period, and then you sell tickets to it. People would pay to go to that game. Trust me. You already got people paying to watch Kansas go up against SEMO in a football game. If they're willing to do that in August, why would they not do that in March or April? And then once we get to the actual summer, once we get to August, then we start to play real games. So you can play one team from another power conference there if you want to keep your rivals. If you want to keep South Carolina and Clemson, you can play that game if you want. If you want Texas to play SMU, you can have that option to do that. And then sure, if you want to play one group of 5 school, we don't have any problem with you doing that. But I am all for uniformity and figuring out a way to get the college schedules to match each other. So if you were saying that Alabama and Ohio State are basically going to have the same format for how they build their schedule, sign me up for it. We're going to play 9 games in our league. We're going to guaranteed play one team from the SEC, and then we have control over the other 2 games that we play, and we got to play a real school. I'm not talking about that Ohio State plays Akron and then plays Tennessee Tech to just get a guaranteed 2-0. No, I'm talking about scheduling real, actual opponents to try to build the best resume possible for inclusion in the college football playoff. I actually don't have any problem if that's how they want to do it, but something tells me that is not how all of them want to do it.
Carrington, you're on the internet the same way I'm on the internet. Have you seen that meme where it's like the world's worst person actually makes a good point? That's how I feel about Brian Kelly right now, having a good idea for the future of college football scheduling. The SEC, first and foremost, needs to join the revolution and play 9 conference games. Once we get over that hurdle, which has surprisingly been a big hurdle, but once we get over that hurdle, you know what we would have? 4 major conferences, and you know what we could build? A scheduling matrix. Do you know why the NFL works? They have a scheduling matrix. Hey, last year, the AFC West teams, they all took on the AFC North teams. Or, well, guess what? Now we rotate. They all this year take on the AFC South, and then it works that way. If every team were playing 9 league games, you could set it where 9 league games and then one of your non-cons comes from the scheduling matrix. That means one year, the Big 12, you get the SEC. One year, you get the ACC. One year, you get the Big 10. We have to figure out the nitty-gritty of how to, figure out if it's the 12th best ACC team against the 15th best big SEC team. But we could figure that out. And then it's 2 games where you pick who you want to put on your schedule. If you're Missouri and you want to play Kansas for a rivalry game and a big crowd and all those things, go crazy. If you want to put SEMO on the schedule, that's your prerogative. But I think Brian Kelly is so close to having this so right, which is just gross. I'm not a Brian Kelly fan. But if you go to 9 conference games, you can start a scheduling, build for all 4 conferences.
Let me ask you this. No, I'm with you, but let me ask you this. In what world then should UNLV and Boise State be included in the college football playoff if that's the structure that we're talking about? Because if you are telling me, and I don't disagree with you, if you were telling me Ohio State, for example, let's use them, the defending champions, they're going to play 9 Big Ten teams. They're then going to play 1 team in the SEC. Let's pick a team by random. They play Tennessee. They're then going to play 2 other games. I'm guessing they're not scheduling Boise State for one of their non-conference games. How does Boise State ever build a resume where you and I can argue that they should be included in this college football playoff? Because in that world, I don't know what reason you have to schedule Boise State. If you were telling me that we're going to play 10 games against teams from the SEC or the Big Ten in my free time, you know who I'm not scheduling in August or September? I'm not scheduling Boise State because there is no advantage for us to play Boise State. So if we are talking about a world that is going to guarantee that one of these other teams have a spot at the table, you got to tell me why Boise State gets a spot at the table where who's Boise State's schedule going to be in comparison? And how could you make an argument that Boise State, as a team that won the Mountain West, that they are as good as the 4th best team in the SEC? I've seen that team regularly scheduled on a game-in, game-out basis. While I saw Boise State play Colorado State, UNLV, and UTEP for the last 3 months or so. That's where I think those group of 5 schools are going to be tough because essentially you have now been boxed out of the schedule matrix. There's not a lot of room for you to go play anybody in that world if now 90% of your schedule is going to be you playing either teams in your own league or now playing one team from the SEC.
I think you're right. The Boise States get screwed in that world. If you're Boise State, you got to, find a team at the bottom of one of or the mid-tier one of those power leagues, because you're right. If Ohio State, and we won't even use the SEC, if Ohio State played 9 league games and then the scheduling matrix shifted and they got the ACC, which meant they got to play NC State, a fine whatever school, and they had 2 other non-con games, they're not picking up Boise State. But if you're Boise State and you look at the schedule, you go, in 2027, the Big 12 is playing the ACC, which means those SEC schools are probably not going to schedule those type of teams. Now a Kansas State probably becomes available. Now an Arizona becomes available. And a team that is a mid-tier Power 5 team pops up on your schedule, and then you got to fill your schedule with the other best group of 5s. You got to have Marshall. You got to have Northern Illinois. You got to have UNLV. You got to, go out and find Memphis when they were good that one year. You got to have a schedule that just screams, we beat all the group of 5 teams, and that's how you get included. I also would say, to answer your question with a question, do we think the future of college football is based around what the group of 5 wants to do? Because it feels like every idea we've seen is screw the group of 5 in some form or fashion.
No, you're 100% right. But I think in this, and I think you and I are on the same page more than anything, is they're giving them 1 seat for now. If you were telling me that the SEC and the Big Ten are now going to reach a schedule agreement, if the SEC adds another conference game, they are doing so to benefit themselves. If they're going to reach a scheduling agreement with the Big Ten, they are doing it to benefit themselves. You know what hurts the SEC and the Big Ten? That we got to guarantee that Boise State every single year gets a spot, because Boise State is then taking away a spot from an Ole Miss. It's then taking away a spot from an Indiana or a Michigan State. Wait, we're doing all of this and we still got to give up a little bit of real estate and a little bit of room to this team that doesn't nearly play the same schedule that we do? I just think that's something that we need to keep in mind when talking about how we're going to build this playoff and what the future of the sport looks like. There was also a very interesting quote that came out from the SEC where they said, and I quote, they believe that college football is more about the number of losses that you have than who you play. I'm sitting there thinking, what college? Have you guys not been paying attention? That's always how it is. That's how I've been arguing for the beginning. I think how we have envisioned college football is flawed. Losing in the NFL does not matter. Teams lose in the National Football League. You're going to win the Super Bowl and lose 5 times over the course of the year. Now, that's still enough for you to get to the playoffs. You can still win your division. You can still host playoff games. Losing in the National Football League is not the end-all, be-all. Now, if college football wants to create a model like that, but I think you're going to have to do some reprogramming. Everything about college football since the inception of the sport has been more about the loss column than the win column. If you got a 1 or, heaven forbid, you get a 2, it doesn't matter who you beat. It doesn't matter how many wins you have because the losses supersede everything. And that is a major reason why you have seen teams duck competition, duck the smoke, don't want to play meaningful games because in a lot of times the juice ain't worth the squeeze. The negative, the penalty for it doesn't really justify the reward of who you actually beat. You can go 10-2 and be better than a 12-0 team, but people are going to say, oh, well, you lost 2 games. So that's why I think in a lot of ways, you just have to make it where, well, everybody plays somebody. There is no manipulating your schedule. There is no, for the first month of the college football season, you played Little Sisters of the Poor and Lamar, so you were able to start off 5-0, while this other team, they started the year 3-2. Well, yeah, they went on the road and lost to Oregon. Yeah, they went on the road and they lost on the road to Tennessee. Those are not losses that you should hang your head about. I do think there needs to be some reprogramming in how we kind of evaluate college football teams and what is acceptable. And that losing doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all and completely damage and wreck your season the way that it has for seemingly every college football year up until last year. Last year was really the first season where losing wasn't that much of a penalty in college football. It's been like that since the beginning, though.
I don't want to detract from your point, which I think is a very good one. But the fact that I saw that quote linger around came from the Alabama athletic director. Stop it. You can miss me with that. Tell me about how, we live in a society now where quality games doesn't matter as much as losing. 2 years ago, Florida State went undefeated and won a power league. They went 13-0. Florida State, they were undefeated. You know what they didn't get into? The 14 playoff. You know who did? Alabama. You know Alabama had that year that Florida State didn't? A loss. So maybe it's just revisionist history. Maybe he has the most, a really bad short memory loss. I don't know. But the fact that 24 months ago, Alabama's AD was getting the benefit of being a lost team versus an undefeated team. Now he's getting screwed on the back end by it. I'm sorry. You cannot be the messenger for that opinion. You just can't be.
Yeah, to give you guys the quote, Greg Sankey said, quote, in the new college football playoff format, it's clear that not losing is more important than playing quality opponents, which I would happen to agree. I kind of think that's kind of always been the case in college football. I don't think that's a current college football thing. I think that being undefeated, as crazy as it sounds, I think that being undefeated is overvalued in college football, which leads you to schedule nobody because your loss column is the most important stat, where a team can have 2 losses, be better than the undefeated team because they've challenged themselves and played in difficult road games, where a team can be undefeated and they just got the right schedule mix. Last year, there were 3 lost teams that would have beat Indiana, but Indiana just got the right schedule in the right year. A team like that is going to pop up every single year in college football. You got an 8-win or a 9-win team, but you get the right schedule, you get the right breaks, and all of a sudden, your 9 or 8 wins turn into 11 or 12 wins. You look up, and then you're in the college football playoff. I think that's going to happen more times than not. Let's keep the football conversation going. Here is Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw, he hates the idea of Aaron Rodgers playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What do you think about possibly Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback?
That's a joke. He shouldn't. That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man. That guy needs to stay in California and go, somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
100%. These guys on the show, Mr. Bradshaw, know I'm not a fan of his. We've been around each other personally, and he was not a kind person.
Now he does not. I had to go over and introduce myself to him. He's not. I had to go. Hey, Aaron. I'm Terry Bradshaw. I know he knows me, but I just felt like I better tell him who I am.
Yeah.
And not, you walk in there and you get in his presence and you feel like it's going to start snowing. So.
That was Terry Bradshaw talking about Aaron Rodgers, and as you could hear, he is not too excited about the idea. I'm going to tell you something that you probably already know, but it's still worth mentioning nonetheless. The three most honest people are kids, drunk people, and old people.
Terry Bradshaw might be two of them in that clip.
They don't know how to tell a lie. You ask a 6-year-old a question, they're going to tell you the truth. They don't have lying in them yet. Not about that kind of stuff. Sure, they might lie about, hey, did you eat ice cream earlier? Or hey, did you break this thing? They might lie to you then. They ain't lying to you about what they seen. They ain't lying to you about what they heard. Kids are honest. What's the saying about drunk people? A drunk mind says sober thoughts. Drunk people, they going to tell you the truth. It's truth serum. Old people, they going to tell you the truth. They don't live long enough. They don't care about the repercussions. They're going to tell you the truth. I think that Terry Bradshaw is voicing how a lot of people feel in Pittsburgh about Aaron Rodgers. That is a proud organization. It's a proud franchise. Aaron Rodgers coming in here and thinking that he can do things his way and not adhere to what we are in Pittsburgh, that doesn't fly here. Terry Bradshaw is Mr. Pittsburgh Steeler. If you had a Mount Rushmore, his face is on it. He might be the most popular, the most famous. He certainly is in the short list conversation. He is that organization. The fact that Terry Bradshaw is not wrapping his arms around Aaron Rodgers in support should really tell you something. He doesn't see this as a torch pass thing. And I think a lot of that is just on how Aaron has kind of handled this offseason. I think we all know at some point it's going to come across our desk that Aaron Rodgers is the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've been sitting here and waiting on that now for 2 months that news was going to come across. We still don't have it. They're starting OTAs, and there's still no clue of when Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. Now, maybe Aaron eventually just decides I'm not going to play. What I actually think has happened is I think there's some kind of handshake agreement, and I think once we're done with all of this mandatory stuff, closer to the middle and end of July, I think that Aaron is then going to make the announcement that he's going to play for the Steelers, that they have sort of excused him from all of this. I think when he went on Pat McAfee a couple of weeks ago, he was basically telling us that. Now, I don't know what's going on in Aaron's personal life. I know we like to laugh and joke about the darkness retreat. He said he was going through something. I'm inclined to believe him. Maybe it's family issues. Maybe it's personal issues. I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. But maybe Aaron has just communicated to the Pittsburgh Steelers, hey, I'm committed to playing for you guys. I'm keeping my body in check. In July, let's follow up with each other, and I'll be ready to come play quarterback for you guys. I think they've reached some kind of agreement like that. But I also understand if you're Terry Bradshaw, if you're somebody looking at it through the Pittsburgh Steelers, this time matters. We're not talking about a guy who has been in this offense, been in this organization now for 13 years, and is taking the offseason to reflect. We're talking about somebody who is now joining his third separate team in 4 years. New playbook, new teammates, new city, new everything. And you think you can just show up at 40 years old in late July and play at a really high level? I mean, that seems like a really, really difficult thing to do. But it sounds like Aaron's going to try to do that. I do think Aaron's going to play this season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think everybody kind of thinks that. But at some point, you kind of got to show up and be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And at least so far, he has just made the decision that he is not going to be there for this portion of the NFL calendar. Coming up on the other side, we're going to head to Omaha, Nebraska. Jack Caglione played his first game at home for the Storm Chasers. We'll find out how it went. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
So, I was just parking my car, and then I saw you. The gecko. Huge fan.
I'm always honored to meet fans out in the wild.
The honor is mine. I just love being able to file a claim in under 2 minutes with the Geico app.
Well, the Geico app is top-notch.
I know you get asked this all the time, but could you sign it?
Sign what? The app? Yeah, sure.
Oh, that means so much. Oh, it rubbed off the screen when I touched it. Could you sign it again?
Anything to help, I suppose.
You're the best.
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
The peace lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr,
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This afternoon, expect partly sunny skies with a high of 71.
Weather brought to you by Tropical Smoothie.
Wear your flip-flops in cafe and score a free 12-ounce Sunrise Sunset smoothie for National Flip-Flop Day, Wednesday, May 28th from 2 to 7 p.m. at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey Kansas City, it's Michael Waka. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
You know something is going really well if we have a guest on back-to-back days. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Connor Happer. He is with 620 in Omaha. Yesterday, Jack Caglione had his AAA debut in Omaha for the Storm Chasers. Connor, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good, Carrington. Good to talk to you again. What's up?
Absolutely, man. Long time no talk, man. I know you probably got, I don't know, you're probably headed to job number 6 right now.
That's right. Yeah, we're on job 3 out of 6, I think, at the moment. Going down to Arkansas for a regional this weekend. I saw that you're having the Kansas coach on after me, so this will be. You guys are like the biggest Kansas City radio station on the Arkansas Fayetteville regional.
Okay, yeah, no, we do have him coming on in just a little bit. Rob, my producer, you spoke to him. He is a Kansas alum, so we try to show love from time to time to KU. Let's actually start with that, and then we'll talk about Jack Caglione in a bit. How are people feeling about this regional down in Arkansas? How are people handicapping this regional?
Yeah, I think, Arkansas probably seems like the heavy favorite. The thing about them though is they've struggled in the postseason. They haven't got out of a regional in a couple of years. They've been upset on their home field. So, I think it's one of those things where anything could happen. KU with the long ball, Creighton with its pitching and its, hot hitting at the moment. I think is like both of those teams will pose interesting challenges. We've actually seen Creighton has seen North Dakota State, the 4th team in this regional this year, and we've actually lost to them once out of twice this year as well. So I think it's top to bottom pretty good. Arkansas will have their hands full, but they get the crowd going and all those things. Like I would think that they're a pretty heavy favorite to get out of it.
One of my really good friends actually lives in Fayetteville. It's one of the few, I would say, towns in America that really loves college baseball. There's a lot of places that love college football, a lot of places that love college basketball. Fayetteville is one of those places like really get into their college baseball team.
No, it's really cool. Like you go there, most college towns you go there and it's like a college football team plays there and then they show up and they think a football game's playing, but it's actually a baseball game. Like Ole Miss, I would describe as that. Like they came up for the College World Series a couple of years ago and played the national championship game and won the national championship. And talking to their fans, they were like, yeah, we just like football. And they told me there was a party up here, so we came. Arkansas is like the exact opposite. They're locked in on Hogs baseball. Like it's actually really, really cool. So they do it big down there.
Right now, we're talking to Connor Happer. He is with 1620 down in Omaha. He is going down to Fayetteville for the regional. KU is in that regional. Also was yesterday at the AAA debut, at least at home for Jack Caglione in Omaha. So, Connor, you got a chance to see Cags up close. You got a chance to see him in person. What was your impression?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's first of all, he's a giant. I mean, you guys know this. I mean, they were I was having some conversations with people yesterday. Like they're about what number he wants to be 14 and he had it 41 on the road, because the jersey numbers are congruent with the sizes of the uniforms. He got into a 14 in the light blue jerseys that they were wearing yesterday, but it was a little snug on him. So he's impressive. The way he moves is really, really, really smooth. And he didn't look totally comfortable at the plate yesterday. But he's the type of guy that could turn it on in a flash. And he's already done it for a week in AAA. People will adjust, but he'll adjust with them. Like I don't think he'll have any problem with AAA pitching over a long period of time.
You mentioned the adjustment. What is the biggest challenge you see from players that were in AA that are getting the call up to AAA? What is the part that they struggle with the most?
I think, one of the things is just handling the next level. Like these are adults now. These aren't like prospects anymore. And a lot of these guys have been in the major leagues or are in the major leagues, right? So you kind of have to deal with that entire thing. It's a level up, but we've seen over the last several years, I think, in my opinion, just like a flattening a little bit. It feels like minor league baseball is generally just younger now. So it's maybe less of an adjustment as it was before. I think you see guys moving up quicker on a quicker path to the major leagues nowadays. So maybe, I mean, that learning curve hasn't been too difficult so far for Jack. But man, he's got some raw power, and it's just, you're looking for the holes, and then, you match it up with what's going on in Kansas City as well. And there's a need there, right? So, you got to, like I said yesterday, you got to think the clock's ticking a little bit.
You mentioned yesterday that Omaha, there was a little bit of a buzz around him. It was day one. It was his home debut. I saw a lot of local entities here in Kansas City made the drive up to see him for his first start. What was the reception like? What was the crowd like to see him make his debut in Omaha?
It was great, man. It was a good pop. People were excited. There was a little girl like right in the front row behind the Storm Chasers dugout that set a big sign that said Jack. Like, I think people are as excited as they've been for a prospect to come through here in a while, just because of the type of player that he is and like what he brings to a baseball team, right? It's the power. It's the, like, people want to see that. They want to come into the ballpark and they want to see him hit 450-foot home runs. Like, even if he goes 0 for 5 one night, there's just as good of a chance the next night, tonight, he's going to come back and hit one into the cornfield out beyond right field. So, like, I think that's absolutely why people are going to continue to show up this week. It wasn't great weather last night. I think it's going to get better throughout the week. So I would expect people to continue to come out all week to see Jack the first time in Omaha.
Right now, we're talking to Connor Happer for a couple more minutes, just getting his thoughts on AAA. Jack Caglione made his Omaha debut yesterday, played his first game in Omaha. Connor, when you watch this Omaha team, are you seeing anybody else that you think is potentially close? I do kind of want to get your opinion on John Ray. We haven't got a chance to see him for a whole lot of time here in Kansas City. Only played 2 games for the Royals, but certainly someone you're familiar with in Omaha. I guess 2-part question. Tell us a little bit more about John Ray, and is there anybody else in Omaha that you think is close to coming up to Kansas City?
Yeah, I love watching Rave. I mean, I think he's a exciting player. He can kind of do everything pretty well. The question is he going to be able to produce enough to be able to stick up there, right? Like, so we'll see how that kind of works out for him. You kind of just have to get hot over a short period of time. But I like Rave. I think if there's a guy to watch out for, and the Royals, it doesn't seem like they need a whole lot of infield help. Like, they have the options kind of there, although there's a couple guys who aren't hitting at the moment. But Cam Devaney is a really good infielder. He's a surprisingly good athlete. Can really pick it defensively up in the middle infield. So I think you could put him at either of those spots, and he's really solid. Decent with the bat as well. Hits it for a little bit more power probably than you would expect out of a second baseman, shortstop type. So yeah, I mean, part of that is the ballpark too. Like, they play in a pretty small ballpark, and across the minor league, the league that they play in, there are some small ones. But like, I would highlight him. And it seems like MJ is starting to get a little bit more comfortable. It's been a long time coming for him to kind of get it turned around, but it feels like he's really starting to maybe get onto something as of the last week or so.
Connor, you have to come on the show one more time to be friend of the show. So this is like a pre-screening interview for us to determine if you're going to come on the show one more time. Whenever you go get a hot dog, what condiments do you put on it?
Anything but ketchup.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and fast-track your application. We have new friend of the show, Connor Happer,
Let's go.
joining us on the show. Connor, you know what? Usually we make people come on 3 times to be friend of the show, but with that answer, you know what? I got the power to fast-track, and I can move you to the front of the line. Thanks a lot for coming on today.
Love it, man. Call me anytime. We'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. That is Connor Happer joining us on the show today. That's the kind of friends that we need on the show. That's the kind of people that we want in our corner. Anything but ketchup. I don't need to hear anything else. I have more questions to ask him. I don't need to ask anything else. I don't need anything else. The only person that will accept on this show that eats ketchup is Patrick Mahomes. If you're not Patrick Mahomes and you like ketchup, I don't know if there's a place for you here. I don't know if this is a home for you. If you're Pat, I'm willing to make an exception for obvious reasons. I ain't making that exception for Matt Verderam. I ain't making that exception for Connor Happer. No, you either get in line or you're not with this family. That's the right answer. Salute to him. I was very optimistic to hear that things are turning around for MJ Melendez. Man, good. It would be in everybody's best interest if MJ Melendez got back to normal. Just a reset. This is why you go down to Omaha. Go down there, clear your head, hit well for 6-7 weeks, come back up sometime in July, sometime around the All-Star break with a new look on life. An injury happens, you feel comfortable, you're ready to come back up to the major leagues. I'm not ready to completely turn the page on MJ Melendez. I know things were a little shaky there for a little bit, but I'm not ready to completely give up. I'm not ready to completely give up on MJ Melendez. So it certainly is good to hear that he is turning things around. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, you know what? Let's talk a little bit of NFL. We are 99 days away from the... Actually, no, my apologies. We have the manager at KU. My bad, Rob. I forgot to write that down. At 3 o'clock, we are going to have the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks. Pat Fitzgerald's going to join us on the show, and we'll get you ready for their weekend in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Keep it right here, so drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This is Blake Fanning with Shawnee Mission Ford, here with a huge announcement. This month, it's employee pricing for all at Shawnee Mission Ford. Let me tell you one more time. It's employee pricing for all at Shawnee Mission Ford. You pay what we pay, not 1 cent more. You heard right. We got the employee pricing for everyone on new Fords. But that's not all. When you buy from Shawnee Mission Ford, you not only get employee pricing, but you also get our lifetime powertrain warranty, along with our 1-year Select Plus protection with your new vehicle purchase. This is what makes Shawnee Mission Ford different. You get all of it. Employee pricing on a great selection of new Fords, plus lifetime powertrain warranty, along with the 1-year Select Plus protection. And Shawnee Mission Ford is still going to offer you the highest trade values in Kansas City. Do not miss employee pricing for everyone. From America, for America. Shawnee Mission Ford, where we're on a mission to save you more. Excludes 25 Super Duties, Raptor line vehicles, 25 Expeditions, and E-Line.
Kubota Orange Days delivers the savings you need for the life you love. Shop a wide selection of equipment at your local dealer, including America's #1 selling compact tractor. And get your perfect match delivered to your door. Designed for comfort and built for performance. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. Sales ending soon. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Something amazing is happening. Technology is working harder, faster, and more reliably. It's delivering results that work. But who makes technology work? CDW. We're a full-service technology solutions provider, advising our clients and designing customized solutions so they can reach their goals and do amazing things. CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com.
Guys, let's talk about your prostate. If an enlarged prostate has you rushing to the nearest bathroom, losing sleep, or just feeling frustrated because you can't go when you need to, it's time to do something about it. Clarity Care offers prostate artery embolization, a minimally invasive procedure that shrinks the prostate and relieves symptoms. It's a simple office treatment that can help you sleep better, be comfortable, and feel more in control. Go to kcprostate.com to learn more. Clarity Care. No surgery, just relief.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Summer savings are here at Going Gone by Dick's Sporting Goods. Score up to 70% off styles from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, Kalia, and more. Discover new markdowns at arrivals every week. Hurry in and save big on summer styles at your Going, Going, Gone.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC, used with permission.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's got my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Have you watched Die Royal Decree? How about Chiefs Take Tuesday? Or would you rather Wednesday? Follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for exclusive video content, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes action. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Let's continue talking baseball. We are very happy right now to be joined by Dan Fitzgerald. He is the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks. They look to head to the NCAA tournament. They play Creighton coming up this weekend in Fayetteville. Dan, happy to have you join us today.
It's good to be on with you, man. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Dan, what was it like to hear your team's name called, that you guys were going to get a chance to advance your season?
Well, it was really special. You know, this has been such a awesome journey for us the past 3 years, and so many people have given just massive blood, sweat, tears into us being to where we are right now. So I think to be able to celebrate it with our administration and our players and my staff and all the people who support our program was a really, really special moment.
Dan, I'm looking at your career, and we talked about this a little bit the last time you were on here, but in all of this, have you allowed yourself just to kind of sit back and look at what you've accomplished and how far you've come? I mean, we're talking pre-COVID. You were at Dallas Baptist as an assistant coach. Fast forward 5 years, you're taking a team to the NCAA tournament. Have you allowed yourself to just think about how cool all of this has been for you?
Probably not. Probably not like I should. You know, I think part of the curse of coaching is that, you know, you see all the warts and you see all the landmines out in front of you. So I usually try to do that sometime in August when things are settled down and recruiting's done. But, you know, there have certainly been plenty of moments where I've been able to celebrate with my family and friends and my staff. So, yeah, I mean, it's a yes and no answer. Probably not like I should, but I've certainly enjoyed every step of the way.
Dan, we talk about a lot of the changes in college athletics, and when you only really look at it through the lens of football and basketball, in your world, how have all of the changes in college athletics changed your job, changed your day-to-day?
Well, it's changed recruiting tremendously, where, you know, the model of recruiting 15, 16, 17-year-old kid and walking them through high school and coaching them for 4 years in college and kind of watching them mature into, you know, grown men, like that has changed because the portal has just turned it into such a, we can just get older players who are more mature and further along in the development process. And therefore, you know, you get a 23-year-old to 24-year-old with 4 or 5 years of college experience under their belt. So it's changed the recruiting process, and it's certainly changed therefore the you know, when you recruit a bunch of older guys, you're recruiting more guys the next year. So the numbers are different. Certainly the money in the NIL has changed everything. And to varying degrees. We're not running at the top of that world like some of the schools in the SEC are, but we've had to lean heavy on our supporters to be able to put together packages for players, and it is what it is. The thing that hasn't changed is the character and integrity and all those things, being a great teammate, competing, those things are and will always remain at the front of our program. So it's affected us, but not probably like other places, because we've stayed really true to that process of finding the right guys.
Right now, we're talking to Dan Fitzgerald. He is the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks. They are heading down to the Fayetteville Regional. They're going to take on Creighton Friday at 7 o'clock. You can catch that over on ESPN+. Dan, I want to say congratulations. You were named Big 12 Coach of the Year. Tell us how you found out that you won that award.
Oh, it's pretty cool, man. We were actually practicing at Dallas Baptist, with the regional being down at Globe Life, and they played on the video board. My staff had surprised me with a message from my three boys that my wife had put together. So, my three boys who are 14, 13, and 11, all of a sudden their faces popped up on the video board and they announced it. So pretty sweet moment. Kind of hard to keep it together. So, that's something I'll remember until I'm old and lose my mind.
Dan, I imagine this has to be not only just a win for yourself. Obviously, you're the one getting the accolades, you're the manager, but this has to be a win for your staff. If you look at, what you guys have accomplished since you've taken over at KU. I mean, you guys won 25 games, 31, and now you won 43 games, and you're heading to the NCAA tournament. This is not just a bonus for you. This is a bonus for everybody who has been associated with helping you guys grow as a program.
Yeah, this is the administration. This is my staff, and obviously it's all about the players. So, the individual awards always point to the work of a team, and the Coach of the Year thing, I very much look at that as that's a staff award. There are so many things in the day-to-day of our program that I don't even think about anymore, because we've delegated and we've kind of found our flow and a finely tuned machine when it comes to our operation. So you hit the nail on the head, man. These are all staff awards, an administration that's invested and poured into us. And, Travis Goff has, just done such an amazing job at KU since getting there, and his entire team of deputy ADs and support staff are just so elite. So yeah, these are always a team awards, and my staff is very deserving of all the accolades they receive.
Dan, just taking a look at the region that you guys are in, I imagine, obviously, Arkansas is a very tough, great program, great history. I'm guessing you probably would have picked this one. This is a very easy drive for your fans to be able to make the trip down to Fayetteville. It has very much a regional feel with Arkansas, you guys, and then you also got Creighton in it. I mean, this is a really good region for you guys to be a part of.
No question. And, there were 16 of them, and we were happy to be in any of the 16. In year three, to be in the spot we're in, we would have taken any of them. And we were really close to hosting as well. And to have that out in front of us as a goal in the future, obviously, is great. But, I think that the big one is we are going to have a great outpouring from Jayhawk Nation. And there are so many fans that have traveled with us all year. And the NCAA regional in baseball is a little different in that they actually do try to keep it regionally. In basketball, I think they line them up, 1 through 64, and then they just start pairing numbers, 1 versus 64 and 2 versus 63. To some degree, I know there's some nuance to that, but in our sport, it's very much they do try to keep it regionally. Now, the Big 12 had 8 teams in, so inevitably there's going to be someone from the Big 12 sent somewhere random, like TCU's going up to Oregon State, and so you end up with a little bit of that. But yeah, the regional thing for us is awesome. It's 4 great teams in this one. North Dakota State's got a really nice team and very competitive in their league, and then obviously Creighton had a fantastic year and is a great historical ball club, and then Arkansas is obviously the one seed there in hosting. So it's going to be a great 4-team tournament. We can't wait to get going on Friday night.
Right now, we're talking to Dan Fitzgerald for a couple more minutes. He is the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks. They are heading to the NCAA tournament. You mentioned how deep the Big 12 was this year. How is that depth and playing those teams on a week-in, week-out basis? How do you think that's helped prepare you for this next step of your season?
Yeah, I think we kind of look at the season in those different stages where you have the preseason that's, preparing you for the season, and then you've got the non-conference that then prepares you for the conference, and the conference that prepares you for conference tournament, and et cetera, on and on. And I think the one thing in the Big 12 is that every pitching staff has someone at the top of that rotation that's going to, pitch in the big leagues. And so very much the same in the SEC and really the same across most of college baseball. You just have guys that are going to pitch well into professional baseball in that Friday night spot. So I think you become very battle tested because every Friday night you got to be hooked up, and then Saturday is very similar, and Sunday oftentimes comes down to who's tougher and who's got a better bullpen. So we've been tested by some great teams. I mean, you think about eight teams that are playing in the postseason, and we played all 7 of the other ones. So it's an unbalanced schedule in the Big 12, so there are teams that didn't play, some of the teams at the top. Well, we played them all, and so I feel like we've seen. I mean, you think about facing 7 of those teams. That's a big chunk of the NCAA tournament that we've already faced, and then you look at some of our non-conference and the way that prepared us as well. So we are certainly battle tested, and won't be surprised by anything we see this weekend.
Dan, last question. I'll get you out of here. We appreciate your time. I know this is a busy time for you. All right, Dan, this is a 2-part question. We love asking people like you this question. Give us your best player that you've seen in college. Just you saw a guy play college baseball and you said he is going to be a star one day. Also, who is the best baseball player that you've seen in the pro level? Who's the best baseball player you've ever seen?
Best college player I've ever seen would be Dylan Cruz, who I got to coach at LSU. And most of the time when I get asked that question, I ask a follow-up of, do you want someone besides Dylan Cruz? he was so next level. And then best big leaguer I've ever seen. Wow. Growing up in Minnesota, I got to see Kirby Puckett, who obviously is a Hall of Famer. I got to see Clayton Kershaw pitch a couple times. That's probably the greatest lefty of our generation. I have not seen Ohtani in person. I saw Bobby Witt Jr. play 100 times in high school, and his dad's a buddy of mine, and I've gotten to see Bobby his whole life. So I would probably say I'd probably throw Bobby at the top of that list, given the fact that I've gotten to see him for so long, and I think he's such an exceptional talent. And it was very obvious early on in high school that he was going to be a all-star type big leaguer.
I got a chance to see Shohei play a couple of years ago. It was last year, actually, with the Angels. They're actually coming back to Kansas City here, coming up in a couple of weeks. There haven't been many times that growing up in Kansas City that I know that I've been excited to see an opposing player hit a home run. I got a chance to see Shohei hit a home run. I actually stood up and clapped for it. I was just like, you know what? I might not ever see him hit a home run again.
Well, if you go to another one of his games, you'll see him hit a home run. But he is, you could debate that he's in the conversation of greatest players in the history of the sport. I mean, to be able to do what he does on the mound. And I actually saw a video of him last night. I think it was last night on SportsCenter. He's throwing a live bullpen to hitters. So talk about a generational talent. That guy is really, really special.
That is Dan Fitzgerald. He is the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks. They play this Friday going up against Creighton. They are looking to make the College Baseball World Series. Dan, I want you to know that we are cheering for you on this show. We want you guys to go all the way to Omaha.
Thanks, buddy. Rock chalk.
Absolutely. That is Dan Fitzgerald joining us on the show today. Rob, you know what? I am willing to put my college alliance down for you guys. I'm cheering for KU to make it to Omaha. I'm cheering for K-State to go to Omaha. We're looking to have the K-State manager come on the show tomorrow. Would love to catch up with him. We're supporting both of the college baseball teams on this show. I'm not picking any favorites. I'm cheering for KU and I'm cheering for K-State.
I would love it if KU went to Omaha. Omahawks, baby. Here we go.
Can we just talk about Kirby Puckett for just a really, really quick second? In 1998, I looked it up because I was curious. Kirby Puckett led Major League Baseball with 234 hits. He hit 42 doubles back in 1988, had 24 home runs, 121 RBIs, hit 356 back in 1988. You know what? They don't make baseball players like that anymore. They make them like that with the power and the RBIs. That guy now would hit 256, not 356, the way that he did in 1998. No, it certainly would be a treat to watch that guy play game in and game out. Let me ask you this, Rob. Is this something that KU fans are sort of hopping on the wagon? And I don't say that to poke fun. I understand that baseball is usually not people's go-to sport when we're talking about college athletics. You, for example, you are a KU season ticket holder in football. You are a KU season ticket holder in basketball. You've maybe been to a handful of KU baseball games in your life, but I mean, they got a chance to go to the College Baseball World Series. This is the first time that they've made the playoffs since 2014. They play a game on Friday night. Is this going to be something that you're making it a point to be home and kind of keep your eye on it? How are you handling the Jayhawks this weekend?
I don't know that it's appointment television yet. Like, I'm not making a point to be like, hey, when I get home, I'm throwing KU and Creighton on. But I do find myself very excited and intrigued at the possibility of this team going to Omaha. We talk a lot on this show about how all sports are kind of niche outside the NFL. And I think college baseball is, even in that regard, super niche. But the fact that KU baseball started 10-0, and then we had the coach on. We just had him on a minute ago. He's a great guy. Seems like a really good dude to hang out with. And they were good, and they were winning, and the crowd started showing up. And then they started having games on ESPNU and ESPN+. And you could throw them on a Sunday, and they were fun to watch. I kind of started gravitating toward them a little bit. And like any fan base of any team in any country, if you start winning, the people start caring. And this team is winning, so I find myself caring. I would love for them to go to Omaha. I'm not going to be devastated if they don't. It kind of reminds me of last year, K-State baseball. Ironically, beat Arkansas in the regionals, and all of a sudden Twitter was like, oh my goodness, here we go, because there's that feeling of you can accomplish something major.
It's honestly the one time when your college is good at one of these other sports. It's the one time that cheering for your team kind of feels like the Olympics. Like when you watch the Olympics, sure, I want the United States to win in track, or I want the United States to win in swimming, and you feel the excitement when they do win. But you're also not really torn up if they lose. Like you're like, oh man, we lost a 4x2. Like you don't know anything about it. You're simply cheering for them because they grew up in the same places that you grew up. That's what it's like when one of your colleges makes one of these kind of runs. I don't care if it's volleyball, baseball, softball. They are representing your school, your team, your university. You get to hop on the bandwagon for a couple of weeks. It gets to be fun. If they win, you're excited about it. If they lose, it's like, all right, well, in the college football portal, who did we get? You get a chance to then move on. This is actually the really fun time to pick up cheering for your school.
The Olympics analogy is absolutely perfect because you're all in for a short run. And if the all-in run is great, boy, are you proud for that Olympic thing. Yeah, you lost the 4x2, you're sad. But when you win the 4x2, let me tell you something. I've never been a bigger fan of insert name of 4x2 runner here. Like that is a near you do a lot of good analogies on this show. That one was near perfect.
Thank you, man. You know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate that you noticed it. I appreciate that you picked up on that. Let me ask you a question, and this is a very honest question, and I want you to tell me the truth. Is it me? Am I the problem? This is why. I do not have a favorite NBA team. You guys know who I cheer for in college football. You guys know who I cheer for in college basketball. I tell you guys all the time, those are the only teams that I would consider myself a real fan of. I want the Chiefs to do well. I want the Royals to do well, but I don't have that live and die with everything they do mentality the way that you guys have. It's a job. So for basketball, just growing up where we grew up, I don't have a favorite basketball team. I normally fall in love with storylines. I like this player. I like this player. I don't like this guy. So I've gotten into the NBA over the years that way. For the last 15, 20 years or so, I've been on Team LeBron. I have been a LeBron fan basically since the first time I saw him play as a junior in high school. Hey, that guy's really good. He seems kind of cool. I want to cheer for him. But these last couple of years being on Team LeBron, at least in the summer, have forced me to find somebody else to root for. Well, this year, you know who I decided to pick up? I decided to pick up the Knicks. It just seemed like a really fun thing to do. Every time I hop on social media, their fans really seem like they're having a good time. I mean, they're going crazy. They're celebrating. It looks fun. Hey, what would it be like if the Knicks won the championship? So once we got to this stage of the finals and they knocked out the Boston Celtics, you know what I said? Man, I'm cheering for the Knicks. It looks fun. They got Ben Stiller sitting courtside. They got Timothy Chalamet, Spike. I get to be on the same team as Olivia Benson, Mariska Hargitay. Sign me up. Rob, why did I decide to do this? Since I decided to be a Knicks fan, they've won one game and lost 3 of them, and they're about to get eliminated back on their home floor coming up in a couple of nights. Is it me? Am I the problem? Am I the problem? Because my college basketball team faltered down the stretch after we got all excited about them and thought that this could potentially be the year. And I carried that energy over to the New York Knicks. So you're saying I ruined my real team and then I ruined my fake team. I think I'm the problem here. I did this to the Knicks. They were doing perfectly fine until I hopped on the bandwagon. Then I decided to hop on the wagon. I did this.
I don't know it's you in that regard, but you do seem to gravitate toward teams that are known for disappointment in the postseason. Like, the Knicks haven't won a title since, what, 74? Isn't that the number? 1970-something? And we, in our childhood, saw them choke so many times in the postseason. Ewing misses the finger roll. Jordan, of course, beats them. Latrell Sprewell and co. couldn't get past the Spurs. They couldn't get past Trey Smith. Last year, they couldn't get past Tyrese Halliburton. That feels like a similar story. I don't know that it's you, like you're some sort of mystical curse, but you seem to have a type. You seem to gravitate towards, man, always good, but disappoints in the postseason. And you found yourself another person right in that lane. The Knicks are just Missouri-ish. They're just in a more historic arena.
Because those fans that don't win a lot, they seem to have the most fun. Does it not seem like they have the most fun?
They're the most excitable. That's not the most fun. They're the most excitable. They're the easiest group to get rowdy.
Yeah, because I just think about it. Like cheering for KU, I mean, yeah, it sounds fun. You guys don't seem to have fun doing it most of the time. Your fans can never run on the court. Like nothing about, no KU fan, it doesn't seem very fun. Every team gets compared to 2008. This team's either the best team we've ever had or it's the worst team we've ever had. Being a KU fan doesn't seem very fun. But you know what seems fun? Man, those once every 8 years where K-State's really got a chance to do something. God, it seems so fun, does it not? It just pops up out of nowhere. You fall in love with Jacob Pullen. Then you got Marquise Noel, and you just, hey, I want to see them go to the Final Four. I want to see them do something. And then the moment you start to believe, the moment you jump on the wagon, it always comes down crashing. Like now, I want to cheer for the Pacers. I want to cheer for the Pacers. I mean, I understand Oklahoma City, cool. I wouldn't be heartbroken if Oklahoma City wins, but if you're asking me right now, who do you want to see win the championship? I want to see the Pacers. But I know the moment I hop on the Pacers bandwagon, they're going to get swept in the NBA Finals by Oklahoma City. I don't want that for Indianapolis.
I will say this, and maybe this is your point. You're just saying it in an NBA's tense. There is something that is extra lovable about when your team is the surprise. And I know KU basketball never gets to be the surprise. But remember that one? KU finished 6-6 in football. Remember they started 5-0? Oh, was it so fun? Where'd this come from? It was like found money. It was the best feel. Look at this. Being a KU basketball fan's fun because banners and the whole deal. But when it's a surprise out of nowhere, like Chiefs fans, you guys know that the Super Bowl years are the best. I'm not saying they weren't. But 2013 as a Chiefs fan was also fun. You went from first pick in the draft and just disastrous season in 2012, like historic bad all-time terribleness, to Andy Reid shows up, Alex Smith shows up, and you start 9-0. there's an excitement of look what we're doing, look what no one saw coming that is almost as enjoyable as the high-level winning.
This is why 2014 with the Royals is better than 2015. 2015, we all expected them to be good from the very beginning of the season, and they were good, and then they did exactly what we thought they were going to do. I'm not saying 2015 wasn't fun, but it was certainly a lot more fun when I had no expectations for the Royals, and I just woke up one day and was like, wait, hold on. They're going to the playoffs tomorrow? Wait, that game's at Kauffman Stadium? Well, I got to go. Sign me up. And then they win that game, and then you're thinking to yourself, well, I mean, they're probably going to lose to the Angels. The Angels got Albert Pujols, and they got Mike Trout, and wait, they won both of the games in Los Angeles? They're coming back to Kansas City with the chance to win the series? I got to go to this game. Yes, it's always better for the discovery or when you're listening to the unsigned band that makes it. Your music is always going to be more interested when you were trying to figure out how to get it than when you already have it. That's what sports are like. That's why I like cheering for the Knicks. Yes, go Knicks. I mean, it's over now, but go Knicks. It was fun for those 2 weeks being a Knicks fan. I enjoyed cheering for the Knicks. Now I got to find a new team. I mean, I only got a couple more weeks left of the NBA playoffs, so go Pacers. That's who I'm cheering for. I'm cheering for Tyrese Halliburton. You know what I mean? That's who I'm cheering for. I'm cheering for Tyrese Halliburton to go out and win the NBA championship. All right, coming up on the other side, you know what, Rob? Let's do our football segment. We are 99 days away from the first game of the NFL season, and Jamar Chase, he made a really good point. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities, and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line, or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Starbucks Summer Berry Refresher is officially back. Bold notes of raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry shaken with ice and poured over raspberry-flavored pearls. Try it with lemonade or coconut milk. Available for a limited time. Your Summer Berry Refresher is ready at Starbucks.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Summer savings are here at Going, Going, Gone by Dick's Sporting Goods. Score up to 70% off styles from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, Kalia, and more. Discover new markdowns and arrivals every week. Hurry in and save big on summer styles at your Going, Going, Gone.
Numerous brands to choose from, endless options, one incredible experience. At Aristocrat Motors, we treat every driver like royalty and offer the finest luxury vehicle experience in Kansas City. Come see us today and let us roll out the red carpet for you.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
A vehicle fire eastbound 70 just before Sterling. That's got 2 right lanes closed. Traffic heavy back over that 435 exchange. Slow into downtown, northbound 35. And a 2-car crash stopping traffic eastbound 435 at the on-ramp from State Line Road. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
So we are 99 days away from the start of the NFL season. Every day, I'm going to give you guys a different, new, fresh, improved NFL thought that I have. Yesterday, we talked about Caleb Williams and how I believe that Caleb Williams has the most pressure on him of any quarterback heading into this season. The Bears have bent over backwards to try to accommodate him this season. They hired the best offensive-minded head coach that was available. They made 2 trades on the offensive line. In 2 seasons, they have spent multiple top 10 picks on a pass catcher. They spent their 2nd-round pick this year on a pass catcher. They have done everything they can to try to help their offense and help their young quarterback and kind of steepen this learning curve a little bit. We'll see if it works. The next thing I want to talk about is I think that Cincinnati is still a very good team. I think that Cincinnati is a top 5 quarterback in the league. I think they have maybe the best wide receiver, certainly one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is going to be healthy coming into this year. There are a lot of reasons, I think, to like Cincinnati. 2 things, though, usually go wrong for Cincinnati. They usually are dealing with some nonsense in the offseason. Sometimes it's of their own dealing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's Joe Burrow is recovering from an injury and he's not going to be able to practice until August. That's usually not good. Sometimes it's something different. Sometimes it's a contract. Jamar Chase is unhappy with his deal. T. Higgins is unhappy with his deal. Trey Hendrickson is unhappy with his deal. Usually the Bengals, they got some nonsense going on. And if there's one thing that I've learned from Mitch Holthus over the years of him joining us on the show, it's been this. Your habits in March, April, May, and the kind of foundation that you build, you can see that later on in the season. One of the reasons that the Chiefs usually get off to a good start, or Philadelphia usually gets off to a good start, is because of how they handle this part of the season. Everybody is there. They aren't a noisy organization. Everybody's participating. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. Once it's football time, let's focus in on football time. Hey, when it's your free time, go have fun. Travis, go do your podcast. Go to your girlfriend's concerts. Patrick, go do what you want to do. But when it's football time, when it's time to lock in, you guys need to come back to Kansas City. Let's do our work. Let's do what we're supposed to do. And then in your free time, go be free. That's not what happens in Cincinnati. They just ho-hum. They go through June. They go through July. They go through August. And then they think on week 1, they can just flip a switch and they can just go out there and start the year 4-1. That's not how it goes usually. Here's Jamar Chase.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't be out there.
You want to?
Oh, you wouldn't be out there if it was up to me? No, of course not. You asked me, do I want to play?
Right.
Not really. No. I think we do the. I don't mind like a series, but that's literally all we do. You know, we get, and that's not. You don't really feel mentally ready for a game like that. For me, I don't think I do. I'm not gonna speak for everybody else.
So in your opinion, playing in the preseason is not a game changer for how you guys start?
I don't know. How did we start my rookie year? Did we play in the preseason? I don't know. What about the next year? Did we play preseason? What about the following year? We played that preseason? Sound like we need to play preseason, huh? I mean, y'all found your own answer. I just asked y'all a question. Y'all told me the answers.
Yes, Jamar, you guys should start handling your offseason a little bit differently. Last season, the Bengals started 0-3. They dug themselves out of a hole. Yes, you finished over 500, but you started the season with a loss to New England. New England was terrible last year. New England was one of the 3 worst teams in the league. You scored 10 points against New England last year. 10. You started 0-3. You started 1-4 last or 2 seasons ago. So now in 2023, the Bengals, well, what do you know? They started the year 1-3. They got beat 27-3 in the first 4 weeks of the season by the Tennessee Titans. You should be embarrassed. Back in 2022, the year they lost to the Chiefs in the conference championship, well, what do you know? They start the year 0-2. Then you got to dig yourself out of a hole. You can't continue to do this if you're Cincinnati. This is not what Kansas City does. This is not what Buffalo does. This is not what Baltimore does. How you handle your May and April and June, it affects how you perform in August, September, October. I don't know how many times you need that lesson if you're Cincinnati. This season, look, you've been given a gift from the gods if you're Cincinnati. You start with Cleveland and Jacksonville, 2 of the 5 worst teams in the league last year. Cleveland has no clue who their quarterback is going to be. Jacksonville was terrible last year. I bet you Cincinnati loses one of those 2 games. I don't know which one, but we've seen way too many Bengals games. I'm telling you, they are not starting 2-0. They're 100% losing one of those games. I mean, eventually you guys will get that lesson. I mean, I don't want to do it. I mean, I don't need it. Well, you obviously need it. Look at your team. You guys are 3-11 the last 3 years in September, and you're telling me you don't need the preseason. You need to be the first one at preseason, setting the tone, setting the tempo. But what do I know? I'm just sitting here looking at the numbers. That was Jamar Chase. Let's see how the Bengals handle this offseason. They're already fighting with their best defensive player, and their number 1 wide receiver said, I don't need practice like the rest of y'all folks. He sounds like David Ruffin from the Temptations. That's what it sounds like. Good luck to Cincinnati this year. We'll see how it goes for them.
I think it's fair to say that they handle it wrong. But I think if we polled most NFL players, most would tell you they don't like the preseason and they don't get much out of it. Like, you're right. Mitch Holthus always talks about the value of the preseason and the OTAs and the mini camps and the St. Joe's. And I'm not discounting that. But I'm sure if we got to, hook Travis Kelce to some truth serum or Chris Jones, hey, how important is the preseason? They would both be like, we play 1 series and we go put a hat on. What is the value? Something in Cincinnati needs to change. They're taking their offseason too casual, but I don't think his opinion that the preseason is not for me is unique to him.
No, I don't think it's unique. At some point, what you guys have been doing is wrong. It's wrong. Your way of blowing off the offseason, it has not gotten you off to hot starts. The Bengals are the worst team in the league in the first 3 weeks of the season. They always seem to underperform. They always seem a step slow, a step behind. If you're trying to catch up to Kansas City, they're taking this time seriously. Mahomes, first one there. I just had another kid. I'm here. This is my job. It's my responsibility to be here. Travis Kelce dating the most famous woman in the world. I'm showing up. He's host of the most successful top 50 podcast in the world. I'm showing up to work because that's what I'm supposed to do. Chris Jones, there. Trent McDuffie, unhappy with his contract, there. We're all here. That is the tone that is set from the leadership group. That ain't the tone that's set in Cincinnati. There's a reason why the Chiefs win championships. It ain't just because their quarterback's better than everybody or their coach is better than everybody. It's other things too. It's culture. It's accountability. It's how you handle yourself, how you conduct yourself, how you police yourself. The Chiefs don't deal with unexcused absences at OTAs. Everybody's going to be here. Unless you got some contract and we're not going to stamp in front of your business, we are all coming to practice. You guys can come practice with me if you want at Camp Pat, but that does not supersede the work that we are putting in when it's time to get ready for the season. So Cincinnati can keep doing what they're doing. They can keep starting 1-3, and then they're 4 games back at Kansas City, and now they're playing keep up, and they're trying to play catch up the entire fall and winter because they got off to another slow start. Coming up on the other side, you know what? Let's get back to talking a little bit about the Kansas City Royals. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. With 56 million winning tickets last year, anyone can win big. So set your destination to winning, like gas stations, grocery stores, or anywhere you can buy a ticket. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
It's time to build that dream deck over at All Weather Decks. Schedule a free estimate today at 913-206-1974 or online at allweatherdecks.net. All Weather Decks, the right deck at the right price.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors.
like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Midwest Auto Services. Got a vehicle fire eastbound 70 just before Sterling, closing the right lane. We've got traffic backed up to 435 on that. Also a two-car crash eastbound 435 on the Metro South Side, right at the on-ramp from State Line Road, stopping traffic. Is driving your vehicle like fighting a wild bull? Does it lead, pull, or feel out of sync when you accelerate or brake? Are you replacing tires a lot due to poor wear? Let Midwest Auto Services check your alignment. Call 816-224-4247 or MidwestAutoservices.com. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
If you could go back, I guess maybe more importantly, if you would allow J.J. Piccolo the opportunity to go back, Rod, do you think he makes the Jonathan India trade? He has Brady Singer, a promising young pitcher. And it's not just that Brady Singer would continue to pitch for you. It is also, would you give up Brady Singer for Jonathan India? I think it is obvious what the Royals were looking for. The Royals wanted a leadoff hitter and somebody who would be on base for Bobby Witt Jr. And in their mind, what they're thinking is, well, Jonathan India gets on base, Bobby brings him home, we got Salvi and Vinny to give him a little protection in the lineup. This is how they envision the offense going. We're 2 months into the season. That ain't how it's going. Jonathan India, so far this year for the Royals, has 1 home run, 13 RBIs. He is hitting .232 this season. Now, he does walk. He has 24 walks this year. So, he is getting on base. His on-base percentage is .329, but offensively and defensively in a lot of ways, I don't think it has gone maybe how they had anticipated it or envisioned it. Do you think they would go back and make the same trade for Brady Singer? Do you think they would undo it, or do you think they would continue on even with the information that they have now?
I think they would do it different with the information they have now, but I actually don't think that has anything to do with India or Singer. I think it has everything to do with Michael Garcia. I think if Michael Garcia had played like this last season, then the word out of Kaufman, one Royal way, would not have been, we need a leadoff hitter. The conversation would have been, we need a corner outfield bat, or we need another bat in some form, or an outfield bat. They may have looked for a center fielder, I don't know. But remember, last year, the Royals offense, again, not great. I've said it was better last year. It wasn't great, but it was like 13th, 14th, 15th in baseball. That was Michael Garcia leading off, and Michael Garcia did not have a great season last year. If you had told JJ, Michael Garcia is going to be a near 300 hitter and might be the second best or the best hitter on your team at times in 2025, what is your plan for the offseason? I think his plan would have been, that's my leadoff hitter again. I got to go find a corner bat. So I still think the Royals trade Brady Singer. I don't think there's a scenario where Brady Singer is a Royal in 2025. But I don't think Jonathan India would have been the move. I think if they knew they had Garcia like this, they had a leadoff hitter, they would have traded for a corner type of bat, which I don't know that's a cure-all, but I think that would be the better outcome, again, with the advantage of hindsight.
I think it's a little bit disappointing if you're looking at it, and I understand the history that you have with Brady Singer. I mean, yesterday was his best start, I think, pretty clearly. I mean, maybe you could argue he had a start back in early April that he went 5 innings. Maybe that's the start, but I mean, this is the deepest that he's gone in a ball game so far this season. Fewest runs. I mean, this was a really, really strong start that you got from Brady Singer. And for a pitcher who had been kind of struggling to go deep in games, I mean, less than a month ago, went 2 1/3 and gave up 7 earned runs in a game to the Houston Astros. For a pitcher who has not really pitched that well this season, it is kind of disappointing that he was able to come into Kauffman Stadium and throw a lot of zeros yesterday the way that he did. Brady Singer should have been somebody that, obviously you as an organization you know very well, and has been struggling so far this season. That was a game that you anticipate just having a better offensive showing than what they had yesterday, but the Royals were the Royals. They scored 2 runs yesterday. We talked about it too much this season. You can't expect to consistently beat teams if you're scoring 2 runs the way that they did yesterday. Their offense didn't really give them a chance to go out there and win, on top of the fact they gave up 7 runs yesterday.
I also think, circling back to your question about doing the trade all over again, and the text line makes this point, and I think the text line nails this. If Brady Singer was back on the Royals this year, I don't know that Chris Bubich is a starting pitcher on the Royals. And right now, at last check, Fangraphs nowadays does like a Cy Young ranking, MVP ranking. They basically have gotten into the postseason percentage games, but with awards. Chris Bubich is 2 in Fangraphs to win the Cy Young. We're past Memorial Day. Chris Bubich, remember, last postseason was in the bullpen, and the thought was he's a nice bullpen weapon. If the Royals don't make the Jonathan India move, and Brady Singer is still in Kansas City, is Chris Bubich a starter in Kansas City? And you could argue Chris Bubich has been their best starter this season. So it is disappointing. And you're looking at last night, Brady Singer, who's been mediocre this year, mowed down the Royals. But that's a story we've done about 50 times on this show. And the Royals have played just over 50 games. Hey, Slappy goes out there and mows the Royals down. They lose 2-3. That's a story we've done. I still think the Royals made the right move by moving on from Brady Singer. Just with hindsight, I don't think it should have been for Jonathan India, but that's the advantage hindsight gives you.
I will give the Royals this, and I'm really trying to think, and if you got the answer to this, certainly let me know. I give the Royals a lot of credit for trading Brady Singer when the value couldn't have been higher. I think too many times we have had conversations about the Royals where they waited and waited and waited too long to eventually move on from a player, that they let his value basically expire, and they didn't get the most out of him. I mean, they traded Brady Singer at the right time to trade him. I mean, it was his best year, arguably, as a pro. He gave you almost 180 innings last year. He had less than a 4 ERA last year, and he's 27 years old. If you're going to get out of the Brady Singer business, last year was the time to do it. Now, maybe you want a different return than what you ended up getting for Brady Singer, and I guess that's the topic here. But I give the Royals a lot of credit for they saw the writing on the wall. We have guys that can make up for him not being here. We got Michael Lorenzen. We got Chris Bubich. We got all of these other options. If we're going to do something with Brady Singer to go try to fill a need that we have on our roster, this is our chance to maximize his return. That's what they did. It just maybe hasn't yielded the dividends that they expected it to.
Maybe it's going to make it sound like a shill. And I feel like maybe we're saying the same thing, just different. We're in lockstep. That's how the Royals are going to have to win. You have to find players like Brady Singer in the draft. You have to develop them. And then when they're at the apex of their value, you have to move on. Now, you have to win those trades. And it looks like I don't think the Royals lost the Jonathan India trade. It's something they won. But that is what you have to do. You have to keep turning players like that into more players. Like, you have to at some point have a very serious conversation. Like, Bubich is fantastic. He has another year and a half in Kansas City before it's contract time. Do you next season talk about maybe moving Bubich and doing the same thing? Like, that is how teams like the Royals win. That's how the Rays are constantly in the playoffs. That's how the Guardians are doing it. Hey, Francisco Lindor is a star. We're walking on Francisco Lindor for a major haul. We then get the haul. Man, we got a bunch of good players. You're going to then move some of those good players for another major haul. Like, that is what the Royals have to do. So I think it was the right call, and they did it just right. They just didn't hit the way you wish you would have hit.
No, they certainly didn't. I think that's a very, very fair thing to say about the way that the Royals played this. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, you know what? Let's talk about small market teams and how sometimes I think teams use resources as a crutch when we have far too many examples that you can overcome that. I'll explain what I mean. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Midwest Auto Services. Got a vehicle fire eastbound 70 just before Sterling, closing the right lane. We've got traffic backed up to 435 on that. Also a two-car crash eastbound 435 on the Metro South Side, right at the on-ramp from State Line Road, stopping traffic. Is driving your vehicle like fighting a wild bull? Does it lead, pull, or feel out of sync when you accelerate or brake? Are you replacing tires a lot due to poor wear? Let Midwest Auto Services check your alignment. Call 816-224-4247 or MidwestAutoservices.com. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Bank of America is a nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in Kansas City. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Are you feeling tired, maybe a little foggy, or just not like yourself? Well, it could be low T. Symptoms like low energy, poor sleep, and a lack of motivation. They don't have to control your life. And at Heartland Men's Health, they specialize in treating low testosterone and helping men regain their vitality and confidence. With just a simple, quick quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com, you can find out if you're experiencing low T, and then you can book a $100 consultation. They'll run your labs, and within 30 minutes, you'll have your answers. And if you start treatment that day, then the visit is on the house. In just weeks, you'll feel more energy, get better sleep, improve workouts, and have a stronger sex drive. So don't let this hold you back. Pick up the phone. Don't wait. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Reclaim your energy and confidence today.
You know how you always want to know about everyone else's money? On the podcast What We Spend, guests will, for 1 week, tell us everything they spend their money on.
My son slammed $6 worth of blueberries in 5 minutes.
And everything that makes them feel.
I want to own a house. I want to have a child. But this morning, I really wanted a coffee.
Because at the end of the day, money is always about more than your balance. Listen to and follow What We Spend, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Breaking Benjamin and Stained. Awaken the Fallen Tour. This Sunday night at T-Mobile Center with special guests Wage War and Lakeview. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Breaking Benjamin and Stained together live.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Kansas City. T-Mobile Center, July 29th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Rob Site Ford. Non-commissioned staff, low prices, best trade-ins, and the biggest selection. Visit robsite.com.
Shopping for a new Ford? Go where it's easy. Rob Site Ford. Non-commissioned staff, huge trade-in values, and Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer. Rob Site Ford. ROBSIGHT.com.
Hey there, Royals fans. We've got more ways to watch your boys in blue this season than ever before with FanDuel Sports Network. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream all the action, or, new this season, Royals Baseball is now available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on subscription. You can also access FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers like DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Royals.com/TV to learn more.
The Out of Options Podcast, with new episodes released every Tuesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
I have two thoughts that I would like to share with you guys, and then John Kurtz is going to be on the show coming up in a bit, and we'll talk about some of the proposed changes in college football. Let's start with this first thought, and then we'll get to sports here coming up very, very soon, I promise. I don't think that we're given enough credit to how remarkable it is what Tom Cruise is doing at Tom Cruise's age. Now, some of you are up there in age, and I'm not meaning to call you old, but you know that you're not young either. Tom Cruise is 62 years old. 62. He's in Top Gun Maverick and looks like the coolest American that we have ever produced. Rob, you went to go see this new Mission Impossible. He is still a believable action hero, a believable action star in his late 50s and early 60s. We talk about Father Time being undefeated. Tom appears to be undefeated right now. We're not giving Tom Cruise enough credit for being the action star that he is. Do you know how long ago Top Gun was? Not Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun came out in 1986. The sequel came out in 2022 and was better than the original. The first Mission Impossible came out in 1996. He just released another one in 2025 and still looks good. Ethan Hunt's flying on planes and scaling buildings and beating people up. We got to clap for a real legend. We got to clap for Tom Cruise. Doing all this at 5'7", doing all this for the short kings around the world. We're not giving nearly enough credit for the action movie hero that Tom Cruise is at his age. It still looks believable at 62 years old. Tom, I see you. I want to salute you. I want you to know that your contribution is not going unmissed. Not on this show. Not from Top Gun to Top Gun Maverick. Not from the first Mission Impossible to the 7th Mission Impossible. Still amazing. Still an action hero. I want you to do another Top Gun at 64 years old. Keep making them. I just had to get that out. An action hero at 62 years old. Don't let anybody tell you you're too old to do something. If Tom Cruise can still be flying on planes and doing his own stunts at 62, age is a mindset. Oh, my knees. It doesn't matter. Tom got up today and he scaled that wall. You can do it too at 62 years old. Don't let anybody tell you different. That's number one. Number two, the same way that I think people use age as a crutch, no, you can get up and do it. If Tom is doing it, then you can do it. You can live through anything if Tom did it. I think we let small market teams off the hook a lot for being bad. Just a couple of weeks ago, I sat here and I watched people complain about how unfair the NBA lottery is. I mean, how can you expect Washington to be good? They can't get the number 1 overall pick. It's not fair. I mean, the only way you can ever be good in sports is to get the number 1 overall pick. You can't have the number 2 pick or the number 3 pick. You have to have the number 1 overall pick. It's fair. Cleveland's picked number 1, I don't know how many times in our lifetime. They've never come close to winning anything. Maybe it's more than that. The Indiana Pacers should be an example for everybody. Indiana has made the postseason 7 of the last 10 years. They've made the NBA Final Four the last 2 years. They're heading to the NBA Finals. The Pacers have been relevant in the NBA for 20-something years. You want to know the last time that the Pacers picked in the top 5 in the NBA draft? 1988. We're talking 35 years ago was the last time that the Pacers had a top 5 pick. Yet, they drafted Reggie Miller. They drafted Paul George. They traded for Tyrese Halliburton. They drafted Miles Turner. How can you do this if you don't have the number 1 overall pick? We let these bad teams off the hook because they repeatedly hire dummies. That's why. They repeatedly hire people who, A, don't know how to draft, don't know how to develop, don't know how to scout talent, and they hide behind, well, it's a small market. I mean, what can we do? I mean, we can't compete. I don't know. I don't know the rules. They're just not fair. We can't win. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Nobody in free agency ever says, I want to go play for the Indiana Pacers. That's never happened before in the history of the NBA. Nobody in free agency has ever said, you know what, man? I kind of want to go move to Oklahoma City. You know what? I mean, look at all these great NBA cities. I mean, we got New York and Miami and the Lakers. And you know what? I don't want to play for those teams. You know where I want to go? I want to go to Oklahoma City. I want to go to a place where everything shuts down at 9:30, even though I make $80 million. That's where I want to go. No, you want to know what? They hired smart people that can draft and develop. And look, they overcame their small market status. And the NBA Finals are going to be a team that's in Oklahoma City and a team in Indianapolis. We got to quit letting these small market teams blame their circumstances on their resources. No, it's who you hire. It's who's running your organization. It's not anything else related to that. We have too many examples. We live in a world in which the Royals won the World Series. We live in a world in which the Tampa Bay Rays have made it to the World Series, where the Minnesota Twins, for a 6-year stretch, we live in where they made a movie about a team that didn't have any resources that ended up being really good. Some of these teams have been bad our whole lives, and it ain't because of the collective bargaining agreement. It's because either A, they don't care enough about winning, and they're fine with just pocketing the money and then eventually selling the team for billions of dollars and getting out of the business, or B, their organization are ran by people who are not very smart. It's one of the two. But I'm not letting these teams use we're a small market club. What can we do? You're worth billions of dollars as an organization. You ain't that small market. Figure it out. The Pacers have figured it out. Oklahoma City, they figured it out. You have the ability to figure it out. You just don't want to figure it out. That's my stance on the NBA.
I mean, another example of something we've talked about on the show, which is the fact that, and we use baseball as the example, but basketball does a little bit too, that there is this notion that owners are like, the only way to win is to lose, and you guys got to be okay with losing. And even though we're playing in front of dozens of fans, trust me, the losing is good. Losing is a positive. Smile, it's losing because maybe one day we'll start winning. Like, isn't the small market excuse, wasn't that just the 1990s version of what happened in the 2000s, which is, hey, owners convinced us losing is a good thing? It feels like owners want us to feel sympathy for them, when in reality, if you make smart moves, not even not even on the court, on the field, personnel moves, if you make smart moves and invest in smart people, you will be doing big things in small markets. I mean, the NFL is a little bit of a different beast because there's a cap floor, but it's not like the Chiefs became a behemoth in the NFL because they outspent everyone. It's not like Clark Hunt has the deepest pockets in the NFL. It's just, you hire smart people and smart things start to happen to your organization.
That's it. It's really that simple. Honestly. I mean, we see this all across the board. The Lions were bad our entire life. I'm not joking. They've been bad our entire life. The Lions were so bad, Barry Sanders woke up one day and said, I no longer want to be the best running back in the world. I'd rather just not play football. And then Calvin Johnson was like, you know what? I kind of understand. I feel the exact same way. I just don't want to play anymore. Certainly not for you guys. You know what happened? One day the Lions just woke up and said, we don't want to be a laughingstock anymore. We don't want to be losers anymore. We want to start winning. And then they hired smart people. They hired Dan Campbell. They hired a great general manager. They hired one of the best offensive minds in Ben Johnson to come in. And look, the Lions went from laughingstock to Super Bowl contender like that. Your favorite team, if they're still bad, a lot of it is by choice. They want to still be bad for whatever reason. The Jets have all the resources in the world. They've been bad for 20 years. They got bad ownership. We know that. We know enough about Woody Johnson to know he's not that good at owning a team. The Knicks, remember, Dolan was in the way. He eventually moved out of the way. They hired somebody who was really good at it. They hired Worldwide Wes. You guys might not know who he is. He basically was John Calipari's right-hand man for 15 years in college basketball. When they were getting everybody, he was the main reason why. They brought him in. Knicks got good instantly. It ain't that hard. You just got to hire the right people. Stop letting your favorite team blame their market size on why they're not good. No. You've been hiring dummies for 30 years. That's why you guys have one playoff appearance in the last 25 seasons. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by John Kurtz. We will get his perspective, the Big 12 perspective on all of the college football conversations. That's next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Get ready for summer's heat with a $69 AC tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Our expert technicians will make sure your system is working at peak efficiency to help you save money on energy costs. At Hamilton, we know how important your family's comfort is. Our exceptional service guarantee, plus over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, are great reasons to trust Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Visit callhamilton.com for detailed terms and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of five-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Tonight, expect rain and thunderstorms with a low of 56.
Weather brought to you by Tropical Smoothie. Wear your flip-flops in cafe and score a free 12-ounce Sunrise Sunset smoothie for National Flip-Flop Day, Wednesday, May 28th from 2 to 7 p.m. at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a closed exit northbound 49, the exit to 140th Street. Also heavy eastbound 70 over the 435 exchange, and southbound 71. Those brake lights start prior to MLK. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by John Kurtz. He is the co-host of the Three Mall podcast covering the Kansas State Wildcats, also the Open for Business newsletter. I guess he's a friend of the show. John, how you doing, man?
Wow, what an intro. I'm doing great, C-Dot. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How have you been? What is Open for Business? This is my first time hearing about this.
Oh, well, we're about a year into it. It's a Big 12 newsletter, so if you're a Big 12 fan out there, you get it twice a week to your inbox totally for free, and I'm breaking down the big stories like all this stuff going on right now and how it affects the Big 12. Because you know as well as I do, C-Dot, the overlords that run your conference have just commandeered all of our media outlets out there. So if you're looking for anything about college sports on ESPN, Fox, whatever it's going to be, it's all about the SEC and Big Ten. So you want Big 12 stuff, go to ofbnews.com to subscribe to the Open for Business newsletter.
So you're telling me that if I want to read more about how Kansas went from the #1 program in college basketball to not doing anything meaningful the last 2 years and now just being happy to, I don't know, make the NCAA tournament, you're telling me I can read that on you guys' newsletter?
That's exactly right. You can read about how Kansas flubbing Darian Williams actually helped K-State land P.J. Haggerty because NC State had to spend all their money on the guy that Kansas couldn't corral because Bill Self has lost it. And so now K-State has secured yet another annual split with the Jayhawks this year.
I would like to tell you that Rob has already compared Darren Peterson. Rob, who has never seen Darren Peterson play, has already compared him to Shea Gildress-Alexander and also De'Aaron Fox.
SGA?
Yes.
We're giving him an SGA already? Oh, man. Well, I get it, C-Dot. They've been swinging and missing a lot, okay? So there's got to be hope somewhere.
Are you looking forward to K-State, getting your hopes up about college baseball and then them losing right before they get to the College World Series?
Honestly, I don't even know that my hopes will be up as much as they were last year. I think this team – look, I'm going to say it like I know anything about this team. I don't have the bandwidth to really follow college baseball very closely at all. So there are a bunch of K-State fans and K-State media folks that can tell you a lot more actually about the team. But I don't think they have the pitching to really make it through a regional. And I didn't last year, but I felt a little bit better about it. And they got through that regional to the Supers. And then anytime they get to the Supers, it's Heartbreak City. I have long ago learned that.
What do people in Manhattan do during the summer? Is anybody there over the summer? Because I told you I went to the last home game for K-State in basketball and actually really had a fun time. I wouldn't mind taking a summer trip out there. I just don't think there's anything to do in the summer in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. It's pretty chill. Thinking back to that, I mean, as a student, I went through all these phases where, as a student, it was kind of cool at first because you're like, oh, man, I get to stay away from my parents and just be here in this little place where we can just drink and party all the time. But then as I got older, I was sort of like, okay, this is getting a little bit boring. And then once I got into my late 20s, early 30s, still as a townie, it was like, all right, well, this is great. Now all the riffraff is gone, right? You start to get too old. Students get out of there and there's really nothing going on. But, Aggieville's still there. You can still do some bar hopping and stuff. C-Dot, I trust in your ability to still find fun anywhere you go. This is the same man that in New York City, with nothing going on, found the spot for the apple martinis, which was, of course, Applebee's in Times Square. So I do not doubt your ability to find some great things to do in Manhattan.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I want to tell you, John, that I've never looked at you as being old until you used the term riffraff to describe college kids having fun. Once you start describing 20-somethings having fun as riffraff, you're old officially.
I think that's fair. Someone told me the other day, and I was like, I could not more embody how I feel. Someone told me, they were like, I always think I'm still in my 20s until I talk to someone that's in their 20s, and then I realize I am definitely not in my 20s anymore. And that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I think I hit that spot like a couple of years ago when I was like listening to a song, and I'm like, yo, what are you kids listening to? And then it hit me like, this is what they used to say about me when I was in my 20s. We were shaking our Laffy Taffy, and now I feel the same way about their music.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, I was SNL the other day it was a female pop star. I'm not even going to remember who it was. And I'm somebody that's prided myself on being into pop culture. And so I was like, I didn't know who it was. And I'm just looking at people talking about how great or not great she was on SNL on Twitter. I'm like, dude, I don't know the stars going on SNL anymore. That is a total sign that you were washed. So I'm done, I'm afraid.
Right now, we're talking to John Kurtz. He is with a 3 Mall podcast, also the Open for Business newsletter. If you're a Big 12 fan, I would encourage you to check it out. All right, John, let's get down to business here, talking about college football. I want to get your read on this because every problem that they are having right now in expanding the college football playoffs, it sounds like it's coming from the SEC. It doesn't sound like a Big 10 issue. It doesn't sound like an ACC, Big 12 issue. It sounds like right now the conference that has been the most difficult in trying to figure out how to move forward, this sounds like a problem that is an SEC problem.
I think the SEC is just having to bear the brunt of what both they and the Big Ten are doing. And this is, Greg Sankey is being very, very whiny lately, which is quite annoying because, this is born on third base, feels like he hit a triple guy leading the SEC that is also leading the charge to just do irreversible damage to college sports and college football specifically. But I will defend him in this right. Tony Petitti is the commissioner of the Big Ten. The Big Ten is right on board with everything the SEC is doing. They have been meeting jointly now for the last year plus. They're all in lockstep on all these horrible decisions that they want to make that are not in everybody's best interest. But Tony Petitti doesn't do media. He doesn't come from the college sports world. So, one, I don't think he cares as much if he is vilified because Greg Sankey's somebody that's been here the whole time and he has all these relationships throughout college sports. So it probably hurts him a little bit more to be, kind of a punching bag and people taking out their frustration on him. But also he's the guy that's willing to do media. And Petitti just doesn't say anything. The Big Ten had their meetings. They didn't do there was hardly any. You didn't see any quotes or really anything coming out after that, certainly not from Petitti. The SEC has its spring meetings where they're talking about all the same stuff, and you have coaches coming out and talking. Kalen DeBoer is still whining about strength of schedule when, I'm sorry, you inherited Nick Saban's freaking Corvette, and you're losing to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and can't get to the playoff. Just shut up about complaining about your schedule. But Sankey can't control all of that, so there's all this whining coming from the SEC, and he's doing media, and so people are like, well, look, we haven't talked to anybody else about this horrible playoff format that you guys want. We haven't talked to anybody else about all these other big decisions that you're trying to make right now. So you got to be the one to answer for it. And he's getting really defensive, being like, well, I don't want to be lectured about doing things in the best interest of the sport because people think we're not doing that. I mean, that's really what you have going on right now. So it's kind of more of just a circumstance issue for Greg Sankey more than it is anything else. But make no mistake, I mean, what the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to do right now is horrible. It's absolutely horrible for the sport.
I mean, I'm just hearing some of these conversations that the SEC is having. We literally had the athletic director at Florida say that he doesn't know if there is a place in college athletics for a committee to help determine the postseason. I'm sitting there thinking a committee helps determine every postseason in college athletics. This isn't a football thing. How do you determine who makes the NCAA tournament? A committee helps decide it. College baseball, who do you think determines who goes to these things? A committee is a part of the process. I also heard Greg Sankey say that he thinks that college football is more about not losing than it is about who you play and who you beat. That's been college football from the very, very beginning, that being undefeated has outweighed anything else in the sport. I just feel like the SEC is now complaining about a system that they have been a part of now for over 100 years.
Well, it's also a system that has benefited them immensely over the last couple decades. Like, CDOT, take the basketball committee, right? How many SEC teams got in the freaking tournament last year? Like, yeah, a committee did you guys pretty well, okay? Yes, the SEC did not this past year get everything they wanted from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. The one time that has happened in the history of the playoff. All we have to do is go back 2 years. What did Sankey say? Oh, it's actually just about going undefeated and not who you played. Has Sankey checked in Tallahassee to see how they feel about that? Does he remember what happened 2 years ago when Florida State went unbeaten and did not get into the college football playoff, and instead they threw in, Alabama? Like, here's what happened, CDOT. The SEC for once did not get over-the-top preferential treatment this past year in the playoff, and they are losing their collective minds because of it. That's a part of it. The other part of it, and what they're really trying to, set you up for, what they want to do with the playoff is go to this 4 auto bid scenario where the SEC and Big Ten would each get 4 auto bids every single year. The Big 12 and the ACC would get 2. The group of 6 would get 1, and then you'd have an at-large spot, or 3, depending on if you're going to 14 or 16. Why they want that is because it not only guarantees them 4 spots, but it unlocks a lot of things. It would allow them to go to 9 conference games, which means more money because there would be better TV matchups. They are afraid to do that if it's all at-large bids because they think, hey, if we play another conference game, that's another likely loss or potential loss on our schedule that could hurt us there. So they want a 9th conference game. They also want to do a non-conference scheduling agreement with the Big Ten, which would basically lock out anybody else from getting a non-conference game against a Big Ten or an SEC school. So they want to do both of those things, which, again, get them more money so that they can pay the rev share stuff. Their TV contracts would go up because they'd have better inventory there if they have that type of scheduling agreement. The last thing that they want to do is they want to ditch conference championship games, but basically double the amount of money they're going to get from TV on conference championship weekend. So what they would do is if you're the conference champ, you don't have to play in a conference championship game that weekend. But if you've got 4 spots, the last 2 are up for grabs on that last weekend when you would be playing a conference championship game. So you'd have like a 3v6, 4v5, couple of matchups there. So TV can still get their money and actually double because we'll all be watching. There are stakes there. Winner goes to the playoff, loser goes home. That's what they want. That's really why they want this 4 auto bid thing and why they're pushing so hard for all of this and whining about all these things. And yes, they want to get rid of the selection committee because they want it all to be, we get auto bids. We don't have to worry about ever getting screwed again like we did this past year, all for money and setting it up as best as they can to try and, rev share and do whatever it is that they want to do moving forward. So all these decisions, there are a million reasons why a lot of that stuff is just terrible and there's so much collateral damage to the rest of the sport. But that is the other undercurrent to all this that you really need to understand why the tone is what it is coming out of the SEC.
Right now, we're talking to John Kurtz here, just going through some of the changes in college football. What proposal would you have? Because I am all for something that gives it a little bit more structure and uniformity. We don't have these conversations in the NFL. The NFL schedule is an algorithm. Hey, you're going to play these 3 teams because they're in your division. You're going to play this AFC conference, this NFC conference. We also have a formula to determine what other team you're going to play in the league. We don't complain about how the schedule comes together in the NFL. Everyone signs up for this algorithm. In college football, we all know you can manipulate your schedule in such a way that you can build a playoff resume or so. That I want uniformity so we can determine who the best teams are. If you had to propose a system and a structure for the postseason, what structure would you put together?
I'll tell you exactly what I would do. Like, what they initially had was a pretty good idea if you turn the clock back to 2020 or June of 2021 before Texas and Oklahoma left. If you still have 5 power conferences that are all relatively equal and you just grant a spot to the conference champion and then top 4 rated conference champions get the buys, like, everything works out pretty well. Again, the SEC ruined all of this by taking Texas and Oklahoma and starting us down this path. And that's total different tangent here. But what's frustrating for me is I'm seeing now that the public tide has turned, even from all the national sports writers out there, to, wow, screw the SEC and Big Ten. They're doing really bad things here. which that's great. I'm glad that they're finally on board with that. But the problem is many of them were also cheerleading this stuff when it started with Texas and Oklahoma and destroying the Pac-12 and pulling USC, UCLA away to the Big Ten and then Oregon and Washington. People were kind of cheerleading that as it happened, like, oh, look at this. That's great. Rich get richer. Well, this is the end game of it. You're just seeing the results of all of that now. So it screwed up. What they had is actually, I think, a pretty good setup for how they were going to do the playoff initially. So that's why we are where we're at. As far as that goes, the other model that you're seeing a lot right now is the 4 Power 4 conference champions all get an auto bid. Then you have 1 for the group of 6, and then you have 11 at-large bids. So it's basically conference champ gets in, everybody else is just at large. That seems to be gaining a lot of steam and momentum. I think that's probably about as good as you could do right now or expect. I mean, I think that's the one that actually has a legitimate chance if the SEC and Big Ten decide to give in and do something good for the betterment of the sport, because that's what it would be. They have the power in the agreement, the memorandum of understanding they have for the 26 playoff and beyond. The Big Ten and the SEC get to call the shots. So it's just whether or not they want to force this through and be the bad guys, or if they want to actually consider this other format, which is, again, 5 conference champions and then 11 at-large spots, which, by the way, I think if you're a Big 12 fan, is actually worse for you than the 4-4-2-2-2 in terms of how many teams you would get in every year. Because, look at this year. BYU finished 17th in the playoff rankings. Even if you had a 16-team playoff, they wouldn't have gotten in. You would have only had 1 team in. You'd get 2 guaranteed in the other one, but the problem is you're also literally signing a sheet of paper then that says, hey, we are half the value of the SEC and Big Ten. And I think what everybody really wants to see right now in the sport is not making this an invitational, make it something that is earned. You have to go actually earn it out there on the field instead of just guaranteeing conferences different spots, which, year over year could really affect whether or not teams are actually earning their way into the playoffs.
And that is our guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show today with the 3 Mall Podcast and the Open for Business newsletter. You know what? You guys are actually doing some good college basketball recruiting. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks to talk about PJ Haggerty and if you guys will make the NCAA tournament this year.
I was kind of disappointed in that. No PJ Haggerty questions. I guess I'll take the Kansas shade. That makes up for it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pick which one. Do you either want to promote K-State or make fun of KU? You're not getting both in May.
Well, see, we all know how K-State and Mizzou fans operate. We're, of course, always choosing to throw shade at Kansas. So we just played to the stereotype today, but I'm proud of us for that.
You know what, John? I appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot. That is John Kurtz for coming on the show today. Me and John really bond, and we have united over the fact that we just like to take shots at Kansas from time to time. That's how I know I'm alive. You know what I mean? It makes me happy. Don't you guys want me to be happy? I want you guys to be happy. Everything I do is for you guys' happiness. It makes me happy sometimes to just pow, just a couple of shots. Not a lot. I didn't do any of that. Just a little pow. That was it. That's all I did. For whatever reason, and it honestly, it blows my mind. The SEC wants us to feel bad that Alabama didn't make the playoff last year. Am I lying? Alabama want us to feel bad that Alabama didn't make the college football playoff last year, despite having every opportunity last year to make the college football playoff. They had every opportunity to make it, and they didn't make it. Every opportunity. They lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Tennessee. They then lost to a bad Oklahoma team, 24-3, a bad Oklahoma team. The worst Oklahoma team that we've seen in 20 years. They beat them by 21 points. If they had beat Oklahoma, they would have been in the college football playoff. You had 2 losses, and we were going to give you another chance to make the college football playoff. And you guys said, no, we don't want it. No, we're good. You got it. I'm sorry, you're not going to get me to feel bad for you. You're not going to get me to feel like the system was unfair because you guys were not included in last year's postseason. No, the system worked exactly how it was supposed to work. You guys weren't good enough. You didn't prove it on the field last year. You cannot be included in this year's postseason. I'm sorry. Go be better. I don't know how many teams the SEC feels like they should get in the tournament. It feels like they think that they deserve an infinite amount of teams in the tournament. No. Go earn it on the field. Alabama, in my opinion, they didn't earn it last year. I'm sorry. Those are the breaks. You'll get another opportunity this year. Go be better.
As a non-SEC fan, what's frustrating to me is, and memes don't play well on radio because there's no, visual medium, but have you seen that meme where it's Eric Andre and we're all trying to find, like, he shoots the person, it's like, who shot this guy? Or we're all trying to find out who did this meme? That's the SEC. They're the culprits of the problem we live in today. They were the ones that spurred conference realignment, not once, but twice. Then they gained all the power post-realignment, and they basically shifted the college football playoff from 4 to 12. And they had built it so that, hey, 1 through 4 is seeded out, but you have to be a conference champion. They basically set it up so they could fill this thing up, and they were doing it. And even them, the same league, was getting every advantage they had. Alabama should not have been in over Florida State. I will go to my grave with that. I don't care that Florida State would have gotten their break speed off them in the game. It doesn't matter. They were undefeated, but the SEC got their way. Just one time in recent history has the SEC not 100% got what it feels it deserved, and now it's whining and crying the rules are unfair, and we got to change all the rules and create auto bids for them to get the way they want again. I'm sorry, be better. You're right. Oklahoma stunk last year. Oklahoma got just beat pretty good in a bowl game by Navy. This is not the Oklahoma team coached by Barry Switzer. They weren't good last season.
They were terrible.
And by the way, it wasn't just they lost at Oklahoma. They scored 3 points against a bad Oklahoma team. I don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry, I don't. BYU got screwed worse than Alabama last year, and no one is going to whine in the national media about BYU, but it's because it's Bama, and I have to change all the rules. It's just, I'm sorry, you created this problem. Now we're not feeling bad for you. You have to live in it.
Coming up on the other side, there was a study that confirmed what all of us knew. We'll talk about that. We'll also get back to the Royals as they are hosting the Cincinnati Reds. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
The DQ Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Baskets have more flavor than your taste buds know what to do with. We start with all white meat, breaded, seasoned, and fried to crunchy perfection. Next, we double down and toss them in honey barbecue or new buffalo sauce. Serve them up with DQ fries, Texas toast, and house-made Hidden Valley Ranch, and you've got flavor on flavor on flavor. Get the Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Basket in honey barbecue or new buffalo right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, where our testosterone therapy can help you sleep better, improve your sex drive, give you better gains in the gym, and more. Please take a moment and listen to how we help this patient.
Hi, my name is Matt. I've been a patient of Heartland Men's Health for over a year now, utilizing their low T treatment. I woke up one day and realized that I was twice the guy I used to be, and my energy was half of what it was. I made the decision to come into Heartland Men's Health just wanting to feel better and trying to find a solution to why I was tired all the time. And the results I've gotten brought me back to being myself. It brought me back to being the best spouse I can be, to being the best father I can be. Any of my friends that ask me, they see me, they're like, you're a different person, or they're like, what are you doing? Guys, if anything I've said today resonates with you or makes you think that this might be a good place for you to come get checked out, meet with a specialist here and get your life back on track and feeling better.
Thank you. It's true. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
This is Blake Fanning with Shawnee Mission Ford, here with a huge announcement. This month, it's employee pricing for all at Shawnee Mission Ford. Let me tell you one more time. It's employee pricing for all at Shawnee Mission Ford. You pay what we pay, not 1 cent more. You heard right. We got the employee pricing for everyone on new Fords. But that's not all. When you buy from Shawnee Mission Ford, you not only get employee pricing, but you also get our lifetime powertrain warranty, along with our 1-year Select Plus protection with your new vehicle purchase. This is what makes Shawnee Mission Ford different. You get all of it. Employee pricing on a great selection of new Fords, plus lifetime powertrain warranty, along with the 1-year Select Plus protection. And Shawnee Mission Ford is still going to offer you the highest trade values in Kansas City. Do not miss employee pricing for everyone. From America, for America. Shawnee Mission Ford, where we're on a mission to save you more. Excludes 25 Super Duties, Raptor line vehicles, 25 Expeditions, and E-line.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from... Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC, used with permission.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/score. That's ethos.com/score.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Still looking at a closed exit due to a collision. Northbound lanes of 49. The exit to 140th Street. Off on the exit, you do have emergency vehicles tending to that. So a stalled out car in the far north side of the Metro 152 highway. The westbound lanes right at Shoal Creek Parkway. Things heavy into downtown, northbound 71, and out of downtown, eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Follow the station on Instagram at TheFan965 for giveaways and behind-the-scenes content.
All right, I have two non-sports thoughts before we get back to the Royals. Number one, they conducted a study on breakfast cereal. Now, cereal is one of those things that at one point in our life we all loved, and I don't eat cereal nearly as much. It's not like I don't still enjoy cereal. I do. I don't eat breakfast in that way anymore. Maybe your kids eat cereal. Cereal is amazing. I know plenty of times you wake up on a Saturday morning, you make yourself a bowl of cereal, you watch some cartoons, maybe you watch some College Game Day. Cereal used to be a staple of my diet. It's not anymore. Well, Rob, they have been doing a study on cereal for the last 15 years. And in this study, they have concluded that cereal today has prioritized taste over nutritional quality, which is contributing to childhood obesity and other health risks. And then I was thinking, well, obviously, who thought that the Kit Kat cereal was healthy for you? You couldn't have thought that, right? You couldn't have thought when you bought your kid the Reese's Puff cereal, you couldn't have thought that eating that every day provided a lot of great nutritional value for your little one. If you want your kid to have great nutritional value, fruit, yogurt, granola, there's plenty of other things that you can use to start your day. Your kid ate Fruit Loops every day for 5 years. Yeah, I'm sure that has some kind of long-term effect. This isn't the cereal's fault. Cereal is amazing. But who thought a cereal, you remember that cereal, Cookie Crisp? Remember that? It was a chocolate chip cookie. That's what the cereal was. That was it. There were no marshmallows. There were no frills. No. We're going to put little mini Famous Amoses into a bowl, and that's going to be how you start your day. And you're not going to eat again until third period. Of course, we have prioritized taste over nutrition. What else did you think? You thought those Fruity Pebbles were healthy for you? This is not the cereal's fault, no. You know when you go to the grocery store and you put that in the bag, you know what decision you've made. You don't want to cook that day. You don't want to make your kid a healthy breakfast. No, you better go up there and get you some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm not putting this on the cereal. They were like, oh, well, the sugar in the... Well, of course. If you want your kid to have a healthy breakfast, you should have got a different cereal. You should have got them Raisin Bran, if that was the case. You should have got them Kix. Remember that? Kid tested, mother approved. You should have got them Chex Mix. But no, you got Lucky Charms. Of course, you prioritize taste over nutritional value. That's number one. Number two, I am at a place that I imagine a lot of you are in when it comes to a show. So I told you guys that I never watched the end of House of Cards. Kevin Spacey got caught up, and I didn't have it in me to continue the show. But over the last month or so, I've been like, man, I never saw how the story ended. So I was like, man, I might as well just go back. It's been enough time. I don't condone what he did, but all right, I'm going to watch it. Rob, what was the last show that you hate watched until the end? Because I'm at the point now that I don't really want to watch anymore, and I don't like the show. It's different. Like, if you go to a game or you watch your team get blown out, you easily can just walk away. And the Royals are down 9-2 heading into the seventh inning. Hey, babe, let's go. You ready to go? You know she's ready to go. You ready to go? Let's go home. Let's go home. I mean, I don't have a problem walking away, but at this point, I've invested so much time. I'm like, man, I only got 8 episodes left. I mean, I got to finish it now at this point. I got to see how the story is. I haven't liked this show for probably the last 4 days I've been watching it, but at this point, I'm committed to finishing it. What was the last show that you hate watched?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So, this is probably semantics, but for me, a hate watch is what you're doing with House of Cards, where you know it's going to get bad and you're going to truck through. When it's happening in real time, I think it's tougher to notice because, like, hey, I'm watching it now in real time, but I think the answer is the final season of Game of Thrones. We were all so excited. Game of Thrones had us captivated. We as a society cared about dragons in medieval times. It was wonderful. And then that final season came out. No one was enjoying it, and yet I persevered. I'm going to finish. I inevitably will hate watch the entirety of season 3 of House of the Dragon. That's going to be trash too, but I will push through and I will hate it for every minute because I've invested this much in it. That's probably my most recent, here we go. Let's hate watch it up.
This is what I hate about when we get to this point in the show. It's almost like the people that made the show, they didn't have a really good understanding of why we like the show. Like in House of Cards, I like the show because I like seeing the main character wheel and deal and navigate politics and make things happen behind the scenes. Man, the last 2 seasons have him just been continuously putting out fires that he started. This isn't fun. This isn't why I got into the show. If this is what the show was for seasons 1, 2, and 3, I wouldn't have been watching it. Sometimes I do think the people that make the show, they just forget why we like the show, and then they just go off on these very weird, like, who thought this was a good idea? I'm going to finish it. I only got 8 episodes left, and the NBA playoffs are over at least until June 5th. They're over. They're over. 913-586-7965. I am curious. What is the last show that you guys just hate watched? Just, you were into it, and then all of a sudden the show started taking a turn, but at this point you're so invested in the show, you got to finish it, right? Sometimes you can be watching a show and you just determine, I'm out. Remember I told you that's how it was with Prison Break. I was watching Prison Break. I was actually very into Prison Break. I'm like, wait, now he's in a new prison? This is stupid. I got to now watch him escape. No. You've already escaped. You already broke out. How did they magically find a way to put you back in prison? I'm not watching this anymore. This is dumb. I quit. I stopped watching in the middle of it. I don't mind quitting a show. But at this point, I've been committed to finishing the story, so I got to finish the story. So that's where I am. A lot of people are saying Lost was that show for them.
I straight up quit Lost. I didn't push through. I quit. I know you were talking about what's a show that you've never seen you should just rewatch.
I was actually thinking about watching Lost, but there were just so many episodes. I just was like, I'm not committing to this.
It was it had big quit energy for me. Just, nope, I'm done.
Text line 913-586-7965. Let me know the last show that you guys hate watched, and I'd love to know. So we were talking about this earlier today, and I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts. So we asked Vern, does he have any concern with the power numbers for Bobby Witt Jr.? Ellie De La Cruz, in 10 at-bats at Kauffman Stadium, has as many home runs as Bobby Witt Jr. does at Kauffman Stadium this season. He hit 2 home runs last night. Bobby Witt has hit 2 home runs this season at Kauffman Stadium. We asked Vern if he was worried about it. Here's what Vern said.
No, I'm not concerned about Bobby's power, sure. Ellie's taken over, certainly last night's game. But no, I'm not concerned about Bobby's power because he gets so few meaty pitches to hit, especially when Vinny and Salvi behind him have disappointed so much with runners in scoring position. But sure, the bat speed, hard hit rates, the slug is down for Bobby this season, but also everyone understands that's the guy you can't allow to beat you. And this season, Vinny has not shown the ability to beat you. Salvi hasn't shown the ability to beat you, so why would a team allow Bobby to beat him? Now, with all that said, he's missed a few opportunities, a few of those rare opportunities he has to do damage. The difference right now, Aaron Judge, the thing that he does so shockingly is when he does get that one mistake, he crushes it every time. It's very Barry Bonds-esque from the early part of the century. Bobby right now, no, not capitalizing on every single mistake. But I honestly think it has more to do with the guys hitting behind him than Bobby himself.
We'll talk about this more coming up at the top of the hour. Also, Rob put together some Royals stats that I think will encourage you about this team. I'm not here blaming Bobby for why the Royals are in the situation that they're in, but I think it is just a observation. Bobby's probably at a 20% dip from what we saw last season. I mean, it's 5 home runs so far through the first 2 months of the season. So if you cut some of those numbers down, you also have a worse version of Salvador Perez. Vinny has not been the same since the injury. If you were going to get less and less production from your stars, and now you're asking the secondary role players to step it up, and they haven't this year, it explains how the Royals are bottom 5. They're 26th in offense. They have really, really struggled to kind of get the bats going. Yesterday was the same story you have seen. You maybe didn't watch the Royals game yesterday. You've seen the Royals game. They scored 2 runs in the second inning. They didn't score any more the rest of the day. They lost 7-2. You've seen that game before. Coming up on the other side, we'll keep our Royals conversation going and get you ready for tonight's games against the Reds. Keep it right here, so Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Still looking at a closed exit due to a collision. Northbound lanes of 49, the exit to 140th Street. Off on the exit, you do have emergency vehicles tending to that. So a stalled out car in the far north side of the Metro 152 highway. The westbound lanes right at Shoal Creek Parkway. Things heavy into downtown, northbound 71, and out of downtown, eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hey there, Royals fans. It's Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. Have you or your kids experienced a high school coach who wants to make our Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play? The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation together with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, are shining a spotlight on 6 impactful coaches in the KC metro area. Nominate a high school coach today at royals.com/coaches with character.
Breaking Benjamin and Stained. Awaken the Fallen Tour. This Sunday night at T-Mobile Center with special guests Wage War and Lakeview. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Breaking Benjamin and Stained together live.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Kansas City. T-Mobile Center, July 29th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. CordellCordell.com.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
Hey there, Royals fans. We've got more ways to watch your boys in blue this season than ever before with FanDuel Sports Network. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream all the action, or, new this season, Royals Baseball is now available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on subscription. You can also access FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers like DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Royals.com/TV to learn more.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch every show, plus video clips and shorts, all right from your phone, desktop, or table. The Fan's YouTube channel at 965 The Fan, KFMZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive here on 96.5 The Fan. My name is Carrington. Rob is here as well, taking you up to 5:30 when we hand things off to Josh Vernier. All right. Rob came in today, and Rob had a different energy to him. And I was wondering what it was. I was saying, hey, is this because we have Dan Fitzgerald coming on, the manager for KU Baseball? You got your Jayhawks hoodie on today. You're excited about the Jayhawks being in the NCAA tournament in baseball. He's like, no, that's not it. I've got a Royals stat. I don't think people have been fair to the Royals. And I was like, all right, well, give me the stat and I'll read through it. This is the stat that Rob put together. Do you guys know that at this time in 2013, the Royals, who won 86 games, the Royals were 21-28. They were 7.5 games back in the division, and they had a -5 run differential. I don't 100% remember, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that morale in 2013 about the baseball team, just not very high. I'm just going to assume. I don't 100% remember, but I'm just going to assume that there was not a lot of buzzing optimism about the Royals in 2013. You know what? That season actually ended up turning out pretty good for the Royals and ended up being a great foundation for what they did in 14 and 15. The 2014 Royals. Everybody loves the 2014 Royals. At this point in the season, the Royals were 24-28. They were 6.5 games back in the division, and they had a -16 run differential. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in 2014, we probably consider the Royals to be a little bit disappointing based off what they did in 2013. And I'm guessing you guys were mad. Mad at the manager, mad at Hosmer, mad at Moose, mad at everybody in 2014. Things worked out for the Royals in 2014. They won 89 games. They clinched a wild card spot. We obviously know they went on to win the American League and went on to go to the World Series. So this date, May 28th. The Royals are 29-27. Now, they're 7 games back in the American League Central. Now, maybe it's a little bit disheartening, and I certainly get it that we are now past Memorial Day. We are heading up in a couple of days to June 1, and I am here to tell you they are more than likely done in the division. Now, I'm not here to be negative. I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I try to be realistic, and I'm here telling you guys that if we are going off the Royals' chances to win the division, you should probably let that go. I just don't think they're winning the American League Central, but you don't have to win the American League Central. You really don't. I mean, right now, if you were going off their division chances, right now, Fangraphs has them at a 5.3% chance to make the division. But if you're looking at just the wild card, they have a 35% chance. If you look at a lot of teams in the American League, they all got about a 35% chance other than those teams. You look at the Rays, their percentage right now is at 32. The Blue Jays right now is at 27%. You look at the Guardians, their percentage. If you look at a majority of these teams, what is their likeliness of making it? At this point, it's a coin flip for everybody. So I understand being frustrated at times with the Royals. I get frustrated at times with the Royals, and I imagine you do. You go out there, you get all excited, and they don't score when you go out there. Or you know what? You get yourself a good dinner. You had a good day. You're going to go down in the man cave. You're going to get yourself a beer, and you're going to watch the Royals, and they score 1 run while you're down there. I get how the Royals are frustrating. We are looking at a very, very flawed American League. And all of the teams that you think got a shot, they got a shot. They got about the same shot as the Royals, the Rangers, the Twins, the Guardians, the Devil Rays, all of these teams, they got about the same percentage chance at the Royals. So yes, in some ways, it might be frustrating that the Royals, they didn't really take a step forward this year. Maybe they end up surprising us. In the second half of the season, the 13 teams surprised us. In the second half of the season, the 14 teams surprised us. Maybe that's what this team does. Maybe the offense gets right. The offense gets hot. They get going. Cags comes up. Bobby Wood Jr. gets hot. They make a trade. And next thing you know, you look up and the Royals have 91 wins. They're 91-71. Maybe that happens. But it does feel like we have just seen basically a continuation of last season. This Royals team is not much different than last year. They pitch exceptional. They have maybe the best rotation in the American League. Offensively, they're not really better at really anything. Or other than Miguel Garcia, they don't really have too many offensive players that you think have improved from last season. That also includes Bobby Witt Jr., but that's a little bit different because you can't really be much better offensively than he was last year. So I think, Rob, and I don't want to put words in your mouth about why you looked this up or why you handed this to me, but I think it is to say that the Royals are ahead of schedule, and at times it looks dire for the Royals. It's not nearly as bad as the perception sometimes is surrounding this team.
I feel like, and we talked about a lot of this on the show, so this is not some earth-shattering take. I understand why fans are frustrated with the Royals. I get frustrated with the Royals. You get frustrated with the Royals. It's mind-numbing. I've been to a couple of games this year. I think I've seen them score 5 runs. Maybe. I know I haven't seen a homer. I can tell you that.
I mean, the last game I went to, they didn't score.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you want to pull your hair out. There are some nights I'm sitting around hanging out with the wife. I'm like, oh, let me check the Royals score is. And there are times like open the app. I'm like, oh, they got the bases loaded and 1 out. Let's flip the game on. And they don't score. And it's infuriating. But I feel like, and maybe this is just social media and the text line, I got caught in a little bubble. But because of their flaws, fans are looking to throw them away. When in reality, despite the fact that it's May 28th, there is no reason to give up on this team or say this team is, they're actually trash or any of those things. 2013, I think, is a little bit of an outlier because that team got really hot down the stretch. 2014 at one point took a lead in the division, but I just picked 2 years where expectations were high for the Royals and people thought they're going to do something. And at Memorial Day, they were scuffling very similar to this team. I would tell you those teams got better. Maybe this team doesn't get better. Maybe this team ends like the 2022 team that was, competitive and, I remember Jeff Passan was like, they had the best April that we ever seen from the Royals organization, and then they just squandered all of it, and nothing good happened, and they fired Mike Mithi. Maybe that's what this year is, but I feel like in a good way, we are following the Royals on a night-in, night-out basis, but in a bad way, we are living and dying with every single win and loss, when in reality, 29-27 at Memorial Day is not bad with the staff they have, and we all anticipate the starting 9, the team in the field, is going to look drastically different today versus maybe the 4th of July, versus July 31st. So I want to keep perspective on, yes, it's fine to be upset, but let's not pull our hair out yet because a lot of times the season still progresses.
I think it's, a couple of things. I want to read this text really quickly. Guys, the bar got raised last year with the postseason. We didn't do enough to improve in the offseason, and everyone else did. I don't really know if everybody else in the offseason is improved. I think there's only 2 teams in the American League that are better this year than they were last year. It's the Tigers and is that it? Like, I'm sitting here looking at it right now.
Mariners, maybe?
Maybe the Mariners. Right, good point. The Mariners. Who else is better this year than they were last year? Cleveland's not better this year than they were last year. Maybe you'd argue Minnesota, but I would say that the Royals and Minnesota are basically 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. They're a half game of within each other. So I don't know if everybody else got better in the offseason. I think we're looking at it right now that all of these teams are just kind of jumbled up, and at certain times the Royals get hot, at certain times Minnesota gets hot. I mean, Minnesota won 14 games in a row? They're now 5-5 in their last 10 games and just a game ahead of the Royals. So I do think that there is a perception that maybe the rest of the American League that is doing a little bit better than what they are. I also think the other thing, and I just don't know if the Royals are able to kind of fight this, is it is difficult, I think, for a lot of people to go from, for basically 6 months, every conversation about the football team is how they can win the championship. For 6 months, we spend Monday through Saturday talking about how great the Chiefs are. On Sunday, they then prove how great they are, and then we repeat this cycle for 4 months. The Chiefs have been the best team in the American League, or in the AFC, excuse me. They've been the best team in the AFC for 3 years. 3 years, 3 consecutive years, they've been the best team. So I do think in some ways it's kind of hard to get your brain to go from every Chiefs game matters, every Chiefs game is exciting, your team always wins at the end, and then we're watching a fine baseball team. A fine baseball team that I think if most people are being realistic, they're not going that far this year. They might get back to the postseason. Maybe they win a series the way that they did last year, but I don't think this team, at least not the way they're currently put together, they don't have enough offense to make a deep run. You're not winning. I don't care how great their pitching staff is. You ain't winning the World Series with the 27th ranked offense. So your offense just has to get a lot better for us to start to have that conversation and dream big, so to speak. So I do think it's some of that. I think some of the Royals and why people are just like, okay, all right. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I think it's just hard to get yourself really excited about a team that best case scenario is that they lose in the ALDS, where the football team's best case scenario is they win the Super Bowl this upcoming year. I think that's some of it. Let's talk a little bit about Bobby Witt Jr. Go ahead. I don't even have it up. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's news.
I don't even have it. So go ahead.
So I just came across someone on the text line pointing this out. They're like, hey, have you guys reacted to the story from the Royals yet?
I haven't even seen it, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
I haven't seen it either. So I pulled it up, and I'm like, so John Ketz, friend of the show, John Ketz?
He's definitely a friend of the show.
John Ketz is confirming now at Fox 4 that an affiliate of the Kansas City Royals has bought the mortgage on the Asperia campus in Overland Park through an arm's-length sale process. Does that mean...
I still haven't seen it, so hold on. I'm trying to find it.
I'm reading this is a
John
tweet.
Ketz has it?
John Ketz has a tweet from a minute ago saying the Royals have confirmed to Fox 4 that an affiliate of theirs bought the mortgage on the Asperia campus in Overland Park. Does that mean that they now own the Asperia campus?
Well, yeah, that's what bought means. That's what bought means.
I don't know what an arm-length sale process is. I just don't know enough. But it sounds like, according to John Ketz, the Royals have at least bought the mortgage on the Asperia campus. So what our own Bob Fesco reported a month ago, that the Royals were seriously looking at that location, seems legitimate now. They're buying the mortgage on that location.
All right, I guess a couple of things here. This is my honest, I had no clue this had happened. Rob kind of threw this at me out of nowhere. Honestly, that's perfectly fine. I didn't hear about this. I didn't know anything about it.
It's so legalese. I don't know if it's news or not news. It's very PR for me.
It's absolutely news. It's absolutely news for this reason. Just a month ago, Asperia acted like they had never talked to the Royals. They lied. I mean, flat out. We could pull it up. Pull it up right now. Just a month ago, they had come out and said, oh, we've never talked to the Royals. Anybody saying that is lying to you. We've never talked to them. A deal like this to buy the mortgage, that didn't just pop up in the last 30 days. You guys have been having this conversation for a very, very long time. Now, what does that mean for the Royals? Maybe it means they're keeping their options open. Maybe it means that they are very serious about it. I mean, have they purchased a lot of land on the Missouri side? I don't have the answer to this off the top of my head. But if you were telling me that the Royals are buying up land in Kansas and they are buying up land where people have been rumoring that's where they are going to go, it would seem like right now you have to put this near the top of the conversation, right? You have to. Am I off in saying that? I don't know how you can really come to it any other way other than thinking that.
I mean, this is the first concrete news I think we've had that the Royals are more seriously considering Kansas than both you and I thought. And by the way, I pulled it up from a story on March 25th. The Asperia CEO says they are, quote, not in discussions with the Royals about the potential site for their stadium. There's a lot of speculation. It is just a rumor. We are not talking about the Royals moving forward or to the Asperia campus. That was literally 2 months ago. And now through a, affiliate bought the mortgage.
I find this. Let me read this. I actually just found this from Sam Mellinger. The Kansas City Royals continue to explore all options through our community to develop a new stadium for the team. We have not yet decided on a site, and any assertion to the contrary is inaccurate. As part of our ongoing efforts, we have negotiated with or made investments in multiple potential sites, both in Kansas and in Missouri. One of these investments was the acquisition by an affiliate of the Royals of the mortgage on the Asperia campus through an arm's-length bidding process. As evidenced by stadium development plans across the country, these are complex, time-consuming processes that involve a variety of considerations. We are evaluating multiple options at the time. In fact, in the week since the purchase of the mortgage, we have continued to work through a strategic, diligent, and focused process in both states to ensure that we reach the best decision. We remain committed to finding a generational home for the Royals that our fans, team, partners, associates, and our regional community can enjoy for decades to come. This will be my question that we need to figure out sometime over the next 24 hours. What other parts in the city have you purchased? Because in this statement, it says, as part of our ongoing efforts, we have negotiated with or made investments in multiple potential sites on both sides of state line. So I think you can start to piece together, all right, these are the finalists of where they're going to go. The Asperia conversation, I think a lot of people owe Bob Fesco an apology. He was right. You cannot hear this and come to any other conclusion. Now, maybe it wasn't as near completion as Fesco sold it a couple of months ago. Maybe that's a fair thing to say. But if you thought that Bob was screaming fake news, you were wrong. The Royals basically just told you this. Again, you're not making these kind of moves on where you think your stadium is going to be. You didn't make that deal in the last 30 days. You've been having this conversation for quite some time, and now we are finding out that a handshake agreement and now some money has been transferred, and now you want to buy this land just in case this is where the next stadium is going to be. What does this mean? Are they now using this site as leverage against Missouri from where they really want to go? Because we just had the mayor of Kansas City on last week, and he seemed pretty confident in Washington Square, which is a long way away from the space that they just bought. So maybe, I mean, there's really two things at play, I guess we could say now, pretty definitively. Two things at play. Either the Royals are buying this with the intention of building the stadium out there, or they are using this as leverage to get the deal that they really want, which is downtown Kansas City. I do think the Royals have been pretty consistent on where they want to be, but I don't think you can be on the I want the stadium downtown, and then when you start to see them buying up land in the suburbs, not pay attention to, hey, maybe they're serious about, we just want a new stadium. And at this point, we want it to be in downtown Kansas City, but there is so much going on and there's so much disagreement that we'll take our new stadium in Kansas. Hey, we've done everything we can with Jackson County and Kansas City, Missouri to try to get this thing done. You guys haven't been able to get a deal done. So now we're going to do it. I'll say this, as they have set a time for that special session. I mean, the time to keep playing around is coming to the end if you're Missouri. They're buying up land. They're buying up land in Kansas. And you guys still don't have a package together to help pay for these things. You are probably going to lose one of the two. I find it very hard to believe with how Missouri has handled this thing that they are keeping both the Royals and the Chiefs. I just don't think that's realistic at this point. You better be focused on trying to keep one of the two, because this ain't nowhere near the Legends. And we all know where the Chiefs are planning on going if that's where they end up being. So the realistic possibility that you could lose both of the professional sports franchises, I don't know how you cannot see that as a realistic threat if the Royals are buying land in the state of Kansas. I'm assuming you're not just doing this for nothing. Now, maybe you could turn around, flip it, you'll make a process on the deal, or you're buying this land with the intention of building on it at some point. There's only one thing to build there. It's the stadium that you guys have been letting people know that you want.
I mean, that's the thing to me is maybe this happens I do not work in real estate. I do this for a living. Maybe baseball teams buy up plots of land across cities all across this country and they just hold them and flip them. I mean, John Sherman has made a lot of money in his life and he's done a lot of different things. It's possible he's used an affiliate of the Royals to be a real estate developer. It's possible. I don't know. But it does feel like not coincidental timing that we are 4 or 5 days removed from the special session in Missouri, and suddenly people on the Royals saying, yo, we bought some land in Kansas. You guys figure out your special session in 3 days. I do think the Royals want to stay in Missouri first and foremost.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
They now have a backup plan.
No, for sure.
They purchased one today.
Yeah, and this text right here, CDOT, they weren't in discussion with the Royals, but they were in discussion with the affiliate. They weren't lying, but they're misleading. I mean, come on now. We're all grown here. The Royals had a middleman to kind of distance themselves from it. They had a middleman. That's like if I give Rob the $5 to go to the store I didn't purchase it, but I gave the money to Rob with the intention of going to the store and purchasing it and bringing it back to me, and now it is my possession. So, yes, maybe they were not talking directly to the Royals. They were talking to a third person that was acting on behalf of the Royals, and when they were asked specifically about it 2 months ago, they played dumb like they didn't know what they were talking about. So, yeah, they lied. Misled, purposely withholding information, however you want to say it. A couple of months ago, we knew that this is what they were working on. It was in the public, and they made it sound like it was crazy to be suggested that this was happening, that it was crazy to be suggested. So now, I guess the question now is this the favorite? Like right now, if we are doing live gambling odds, do you think the favorite now for the Royals is to be on 135th at Metcalf? Because this purchase makes it seem like now I think you have to consider them to be the favorite.
No, I don't think they're the favorite, but let's use betting terms because that's what this show does. I think Kansas is now a plus 105 to Missouri's minus 105. Like, I think it is, or minus 140 to plus 105. I think it is as neck and neck as we've seen, at least for the Royals. But I still think, the mayor just keeps coming on the show and saying that they have a rendering. We have the cut. About 2 minutes of show left, but there's a cut where he talks about, I've seen the renderings. We've presented a package to the Royals. We feel good about our conversations with the Royals. I don't think the mayor's lying when he says those things, but this feels more like a leverage play to me than it's the favorite. But maybe that's just because I've always felt like the Chiefs are coming over, not the Royals, but now Royals seem very realistic or very possible.
Well, I'm sitting here saying it looks like there's some business journal story about it. I haven't read it, so I don't want to make it seem like what the text line is saying. I can't 100% confirm this because I just haven't read it myself about what's happening. This completely caught me off guard. I had no clue that this was happening. But if you guys missed it, the Royals have purchased land in Kansas. And from what they say, as evidenced by stadium development plans across the country, these are complex, time-consuming processes that involve a variety of considerations. So they're still taking their time and trying to figure this out. And they say that they have not decided on where the stadium is going to be, and they are trying to figure it out. But, I mean, you are starting to purchase land on multiple sites, so we are starting to narrow down the possibilities of where the stadium could potentially be. We will certainly cover this more and more tomorrow to try to get more clarity and understanding on what happened in this, but it certainly seems like things are moving. I mean, we got a month until those star bonds expire in the state of Kansas. Now, they said it's a hard deadline. I don't believe them, but they say it was a hard deadline, so we got 32 more days until I think we have a very clear answer on what's going to happen with the teams. So it kind of feels like we're in the fourth quarter, certainly heading into the fourth quarter. I will say this, one side has far more positive news than the other side when it comes to this topic. We will cover this at length tomorrow. Sorry we don't have enough time today. We'll be back. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. You know, I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
In the moments that matter most, you show up. You protect. You serve. You heal. You care. Now, let Reiselman Nissan show up for you with our Hero Appreciation Program. Kansas City's heroes get special discounts every